Phoenix Nights. Chapter 3845. Genius 1 second. Remember, if you want to go? TalkNet, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Snow Wolf Town was especially lively in the early morning. There were lanterns and colored banners everywhere. Those who did not know the details would think that it was a joyous day worthy of celebration. Love go little say Netka, however, although the residents of Snow Wolf Town were busy arranging things for the celebration, no one was happy. Everyone's expression was extremely solemn. From the west of Snow Wolf Town, there was a faint sound of crying. The beginning of this day was the beginning of Ludania's family's sorrow. This year, their child was chosen to be sacrificed to the guardian of Snow Wolf Town, the Snow Wolf God. Ludania had a precious son who was only slightly more than 3 years old this year. He was smart and cute. When Ludania's wife gave birth to Lutianji, a priest happened to pass by Snow Wolf Town. Ludaniu and his wife saw that the priest was not an ordinary person, so they asked the priest to give their newborn son a name. The priest pinched his fingers and calculated that the child would face a great calamity in the future. However, when he wanted to calculate further, he realized that it was difficult to predict. Thus, he named the child Lutianji. Otherwise, a wild hunter like Ludaniu would definitely not give his son such a meaningful name. Ludaniu and his wife treasured Lutianji even more because the Taoist priest said that their precious son would face a great calamity in the future. And Lutianji was very smart. Although he was only a little more than 3 years old, he was very sensible. He never cried or threw a tantrum, and he even learned to help his father deal with animal skins. However, a bad news broke the happy life of this family. Lutianji was found to having spiritual roots by the great elder of Snow Wolf Town. Thus, Lutianji became the sacrifice to the Snow Wolf God this year. Love go little say Netko, although it was of the highest quality. To put it bluntly, Ludaniu and his wife wanted to give their son to the Snow Wolf God as food. Although Ludaniu and his wife were extremely unwilling, after the great elder found out that Lutianji had spiritual roots, they were put under control. There was no way he could escape. Ludaniu could only watch helplessly as his clansmen sacrificed his precious son to the Snow Wolf God. It's just a little wolf demon, yet it dares to call itself a god and even dares to ask for human sacrifices. It really deserves to die, Gu Fei muttered to himself as he walked towards the temple in Snow Wolf Town. Master, why don't I go kill that wolf demon? As Yunshi spoke, the sword on her back immediately began to tremble, releasing a light vibrating sound. There's no rush. Let's watch the show first, Gu Fei said indifferently. With him around, this wolf demon still wanted to eat humans? Soon, Gu Fei and Yunshi arrived at the altar in front of the temple. The altar was 10 meters tall, and a mysterious man with a wolf mask on his face stood on top of it. He was dressed in a black animal hide and wore a wolf mask on his face. On both sides of the altar, someone was tapping on a self-made musical instrument. The mysterious person on the altar was dancing to the rhythm of the musical instrument, while chanting something. After half an hour, the mysterious person on the altar stopped. With a wave of his right hand, 2 burly men immediately carried Ludania's son onto the altar. The moment Lutianji was carried onto the altar, everyone stopped what they were doing. Heaven and earth quietened down in an instant, so much so that even the sound of an embroidery needle dropping on the ground could be heard. Gu Fei watched the scene on the altar with interest. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from the temple. Everyone was extremely nervous. Even the great elder stared at the door of the temple. Is it coming out? Gu Fei looked towards the entrance of the temple but did not see the Snow Wolf God. The Snow Wolf God was still hidden in the temple and did not come out. Whoosh! A gust of wind suddenly blew out from the temple. Then, Lutianji, who was on the altar, immediately flew up and flew towards the door of the temple. Humph! Gu Fei sneered and extended his right hand. Lutianji, who was flying towards the temple, actually flew back. What? When the residents of Snow Wolf Town saw this scene, they were all inexplicably shocked. Someone actually dared to steal the things of the Lord Guardian? Everyone was dumbfounded. Who are you? How dare you cause trouble here? Some of the residents of Snow Wolf Town pointed at Gu Fei and Yun Shi and scolded them. At the same time, they surged forward and surrounded Gu Fei and Yun Shi. How dare you be so presumptuous in front of my master? Yun Shi patted the scabbard and released her flying sword to kill those people who were disrespectful to Gu Fei and herself. However, Gu Fei reached out and stopped Yun Shi. A bunch of ignorant people! Gu Fei did not even care about the ant-like existences around him. What did you say? The surrounding people were infuriated by Gu Fei's words. They all stared angrily at Gu Fei, their eyes almost spitting fire. At this time, a snow-white giant wolf silently walked out of the cave. This snow wolf had a vertical purple mark on its forehead, like a third eye. Lord Snow Wolf God has come out! No one knew who shouted, but the hundreds of residents of Snow Wolf Town were all shocked to the extreme. They quickly turned to look. When they saw the giant wolf on the altar, everyone knelt on the ground in fear. Swoosh! Gu Fei took a step forward and instantly appeared on the altar. Yun Shi followed closely behind Gu Fei. The Snow Wolf God immediately roared at Gu Fei. Chapter 3846. Genius in a second. Remember love go away? This is the web that provides you with exciting novels to read. Grand Elder is dead? All the people of Snow Wolf Town below the altar stared at the scene on the altar with their mouths agape and mouths ageti. At this time, two white silhouettes were moving rapidly on the altar. The immortal sword in Yun Shi's hand emitted a dazzling radiance. Every slash seemed to tear the void apart. However, with Yun Shi's cultivation, she was still far from being able to tear apart the incomparably stable void of the primogenitor's realm. As the protector of Snow Wolf Town, the Snow Wolf Demon was naturally not weak. He was also in the immortal realm, which was just enough to fight evenly with Yun Shi. At this time, Gu Fei looked curiously at the little fellow in his arms. Although the little fellow was only a little over 3 years old, his eyes were full of spirit. Moreover, the little fellow was very quiet in Gu Fei's arms and didn't cry or make a fuss. If it was any other child, they would have burst into tears long ago. The little fellow was currently staring at Gu Fei with its big eyes. Little fellow, aren't you afraid? Gu Fei reached out to pinch the little fellow's rosy cheeks. What's there to be afraid of? I won't die anyway, the little fellow said in a childish voice. Oh, how do you know that you won't die? Gu Fei was amused by the little fellow. Even he couldn't predict what would happen in the future. Could it be that the little fellow was so talented that he could predict what would happen in advance? If that was the case, it would be too heaven-defying. My father told me. Someone said that I will encounter a great calamity, but I can turn it into a blessing. The little fellow looked up at Gu Fei seriously. And Gu Fei pointed at the little fellow's forehead. In the next moment, he felt relieved. The little fellow was right. Gu Fei had instantly read the little fellow's memories. Now that Gu Fei was an extreme Dao sovereign, it was as easy as flipping his palm to search the memories of others. Moreover, it wouldn't affect the person's soul at all. Outsider, we've been ruined by you. Below the altar, someone suddenly roared. You've offended Snow Wolf God, so we'll suffer as well. Quickly kneel and apologize to the Snow Wolf God. Beg the Snow Wolf God to spare you. Below the altar, the residents of Snow Wolf Town were in an uproar. They all rushed towards Gu Fei and Yun Shi, who was fighting the so-called Snow Wolf God. Noisy! Gu Fei waved his sleeves, and a gust of strong wind immediately swept down from the altar to the bottom of the altar, rolling up the wind and snow. The people under the altar suddenly staggered, and they were in a sorry state, unable to curse anymore. Supremes could not be humiliated. If these people below the altar were not ordinary people, he could have directly destroyed their bodies and souls with a single breath. In the entire Snow Wolf Town, only Lu Daniu and his family were overjoyed. One must know that to them, their precious son Lu Tianji was their life. If their son was really sacrificed, they would not be able to survive. The mysteries of heaven are hard to predict. Lu Dania suddenly remembered the words of the Taoist priest who passed by Snow Wolf Town 3 years ago. Buzz! At this time, the altar was filled with sword chi. Yunxi's cultivation might be weaker than this snow wolf demon that had lived for at least 1,000 years, but the cultivation technique she cultivated was top-notch. It was definitely not something this snow wolf demon could compare to. The current Yunxi, with a sword in her hand, was filled with murderous intent. In terms of momentum, she could actually suppress the snow wolf demon who had cultivated for 1,000 years. Swoosh! With a flash of the sword, Yunxi's sword cut off one of the snow wolf demon's ears. If the snow wolf demon had been a little slower, half of its head would have been cut off by Yunxi's sword. Roar! The snow wolf demon let out an earth-shattering roar, then turned around and rushed towards the temple behind it. Snow Wolf God is angry, we will all die! The people of Snow Wolf Town were frightened. Some fled in all directions, some sat paralyzed on the ground and howled in fear, and some howled in despair. It was a mess. Humph! At this time, Yunxi stared at the temple in front of her. She stood in the void with her sword in her hand. Her white clothes fluttered in the wind, and she looked otherworldly. Her celestial aura and chilly murderous intent coexisted, forming a unique and shocking scene on her body. Gu Fei, on the other hand, turned a blind eye to all of this and continued to play with the little fellow in his arms. The little fellow even peed on Gu Fei's body. Gu Fei smiled bitterly and shook his head. This was the genuine urine of a child. If the sun shooting supremacy and the others saw this scene, they would be so shocked that their eyeballs would fall to the ground. Someone actually dared to pee on the body of an extreme grade legend. Gu Fei did not need to change his clothes. With just a thought, the urine on his body and the little fellow's body disappeared. They were clean and had no smell, and their clothes were completely dry. Everything was so simple. This was the means of an extreme grade supremacy. You little naughty boy! Gu Fei smiled and pinched the little fellow's pink and tender face again. Looking at the little fellow, he suddenly thought of his daughter Gu Ling. Ever since Gu Ling set foot on the ancient road of the human race, he had never seen his daughter again. Now that this matter is over, let's go back to the human world. Gu Fei had left the human world and the heaven realm for a long time. He had left behind forces in these places. Li Lingfeng was even sent to the human world to rebuild the Supreme Mystery Sect. Rebuilding the Supreme Mystery Sect had always been something Gu Fei wanted to do, but he could not spare the time to do it. Li Lingfeng's cultivation was very good. In a place like the human world, where the power of heavenly punishment existed, the extreme grade supremacy did not dare to come out, and the quasi-supremacy was invincible. However, whether in the human world or the heaven realm, Gu Fei had too many enemies. Without him in the human world and the heaven realm, he did not know what the human world and the heaven realm would be like. At this time, the parents of the little brat Lu Tianji rushed up from below the altar. Son! Lu Dania directly took his precious son from Gu Fei's arms. Thank you, benefactor, thank you, benefactor! Lu Dania's wife directly knelt on the ground and continuously kowtowed to Gu Fei. All right, take this little guy and leave first. This little guy and I are fated, Gu Fei said. He did not expect to find a little guy with the extreme mean spirit root in such a small place. This was a pleasant surprise. Yes, yes, yes! Lu Daniu and his wife hurriedly thanked Gu Fei again, then ran down the altar in panic and directly escaped from Snow Wolf Town. They did not dare to stay in Snow Wolf Town. In this snowy morning, no one noticed that a small town in the endless mountain range was undergoing a shocking change. Lu Dania's family took advantage of the case and successfully escaped from Snow Wolf Town. However, it was very obvious that there was someone in Snow Wolf Town who did not want to let this family go. A mysterious figure chased them from Snow Wolf Town. And at this time, following a shocking explosion, the temple that had been worshipped in Snow Wolf Town for thousands of years directly exploded. A huge wolf that was even bigger than a mountain appeared between heaven and earth. Silver Moon Demon Wolf? When Gu Fei saw this huge wolf, he indifferently said this sentence. Chapter 3847. Genius in 1 second. Remember Love Go Away? To provide you with exciting novels to read, The Silver Moon Demon Wolf was a type of wolf race in the primogenitor realm. It was also a branch of the demon race in the primogenitor realm. There were tens of thousands of races in the primogenitor realm, and the Silver Moon Demon Wolf was just one of them. Gu Fei had never seen the Silver Moon Demon Wolf before, but he had obtained some information about the Silver Moon Demon Wolf when he was searching Lu Tianji's soul spirit memory. 3 years ago, when the mysterious Taoist passed by Snow Wolf Town, he saw through the Snow Wolf Town's celestial temple. However, for some unknown reason, the mysterious Taoist didn't eliminate the Silver Moon Demon Wolf in Snow Wolf Town and left. From then on, the mysterious Taoist never appeared again. Roar! At this moment, the giant wolf that was bigger than a mountain suddenly roared towards the sky. The horrifying sound waves spread out, and even the clouds in the sky were shaken away. The entire void was shaking, and the altar under Gu Fei's feet collapsed with a loud bang, causing dust to rise. Only at the peak of the immortal god realm? Gu Fei shook his head. Such a fellow wasn't qualified to be his opponent. He wasn't even qualified to be the opponent of his subordinates. One had to know that his subordinates were either quasi-supremes or supremes. He was regarded as the Supreme Lord by these supreme existences, which meant that he was the Lord of Supremes. Just like an ant! Gu Fei's interest was piqued, and he retreated to the side. Although this fellow wasn't qualified to be his opponent, it didn't seem bad for Yun Shi to practice on. The cultivation willpower of the three from the Yun clan was much stronger than ordinary cultivators. Otherwise, City Lord Yun Tian wouldn't be able to break through the cultivation realm in such a short period of time. Even Yun Shi and Yun Ao's cultivation was improving by leaps and bounds. In Tian's trial world wasn't a perfect world. The laws of heaven and earth were lacking, which caused the living beings in that world to lose the chance to become a true expert. Therefore, in that kind of place, even a cultivator with a heaven-defying physique would find it hard to become an immortal god, let alone the immortal king or immortal emperor realms. After the 3 members of the Yun family were brought to the ancestral realm by Gu Fei, their cultivation was like a wild horse that was out of control. Swoosh! Right at this moment, that giant Silver Moon Demon Wolf immediately used its claw to slap at Yun Shi. This claw was a few times bigger than Yun Shi. The powerful Tai Yin demon power exploded from the claws, and the entire void space seemed to be frozen in an instant. Why did the Silver Moon Demon Wolf require the people of Snow Wolf Town to offer an annual sacrifice? It was because this demon wolf wanted to devour children who were born with the power of Yin to increase its cultivation. Humans weren't to be bullied, and this Silver Moon Demon Wolf actually devoured humans to increase its cultivation. Now that it was encountered by Gu Fei, he naturally wouldn't let it go. Right at this moment, Yun Shi became one with the sword and turned into an indestructible sword light. She soared into the sky and circled around the Silver Moon Demon Wolf's claw. One of the Silver Moon Demon Wolf's claw immediately fell off and separated from its body. Roar! The Silver Moon Demon Wolf let out a frenzied roar and leaped into the sky. The fresh blood that dripped from its wound didn't freeze even in this harsh cold. Furthermore, every drop of blood was emitting powerful Tai Yin Qi. This Silver Moon Demon Wolf was a demon wolf at the peak stage of the immortal god realm. Every drop of blood was able to freeze all living beings below the immortal god realm. Buzz! A sword cry echoed in the 9 heavens. The sword light that Yun Shi turned into instantly expanded by 10 folds. It soared into the sky and slashed at the Silver Moon Demon Wolf. However, right at this moment, the Silver Moon Demon Wolf's body surged with a bundle of resplendent silver light. This demon wolf's glabella actually had a crescent moon imprint. In the next moment, that silver moon imprint actually rushed out from the Silver Moon Demon Wolf's glabella and turned into a divine moon that suppressed the sword light that Yun Shi turned into. Rumble! As though a real divine moon was descending from the sky, the demonic force of the peak stage of the immortal god realm burst out from this divine moon. Everyone in Snow Wolf Town was shocked to the extreme when they saw this scene in the sky. Lord Wolf God! The people in Snow Wolf Town were frightened to the extreme. This was their first time witnessing the prowess of the god that they had worshipped for thousands of years. However, in the next moment, The eyeballs of the people in Snow Wolf Town almost fell to the ground. They saw that the sword light that soared into the sky had actually destroyed the silver moon that was descending from the sky in an instant. Swish! That sword light rushed through the body of the silver moon demon wolf. In the next moment, this giant wolf rapidly shrunk and fell from the sky, crashing into Snow Wolf Town. Yunshi's figure appeared high up in the sky and looked down at the silver moon demon wolf coldly. Go and help that little fellow. I will go and meet the Li clan's progenitor first. Gu Fei transmitted a message to Yunshi and took a step forward, instantly vanishing between heaven and earth. Yes, master! Yunshi quickly bowed. At this moment, Gu Fei had already left. And, with a thought, Yunshi's divine perception instantly enveloped the radius of 1,000 miles. She immediately sensed the existence of the little brat, Lu Tianji. This family of 3 was being pursued by a group of black-robed men and was about to fall into a desperate situation. Right at this moment, Yunshi ignored the corpse of the silver moon demon wolf and turned into a sword light, instantly rushing out from Snow Wolf Town. Lord Wolf God is actually dead! They killed Lord Wolf God? How is this possible? The people in Snow Wolf Town were all stupefied. Wasn't the wolf god that they worshipped supposed to be omnipotent? How could he be killed by someone? Impossible! The people of Snow Wolf Town almost went crazy when they saw the corpse that was emitting a cold aura after it smashed into the ground and created a huge pit. Without their guardian god, who else could protect Snow Wolf Town? Could they rely on those outsiders? Just when the people of Snow Wolf Town were in despair, in the forest outside of Snow Wolf Town, Lu Daniu and his family were desperately escaping. Occasionally, there would be cold arrows shooting at them from behind. Those black shadows were like specters that couldn't be shaken off no matter how hard they tried. What should we do? The woman who was carrying her son spoke to Lu Daniu anxiously. Lu Daniu had already retrieved the huge bow from his back and calmly drew an arrow from his quiver. He knocked the arrow and shot it behind him. There was a miserable scream as a black shadow rolled on the snowy ground. Humph! If you want to kill me, I will send you on your way first. Lu Daniu was extremely calm. He was a natural hunter, and among the hunters in Snow Wolf Town, his hunting ability was definitely one of the best. When Yunshi arrived, Lu Daniu had already killed 2 black-clothed men. However, those black-clothed men had also surrounded them, and were prepared to rush forward and kill Lu Daniu. Lu Daniu, accept your death obediently! One of the black-clothed men was like a wild beast as he glared at Lu Daniu and laughed sinisterly. Bring it on! Lu Daniu protected his wife and son behind him. Go! Kill them! The leader of the black-clothed men waved his hand. However, in the next moment, he heard the sound of a body falling onto the snowy ground. What? The leader of the black-clothed men turned around and saw that all his subordinates had fallen onto the snowy ground. Less than 3 feet away from him, there was a beautiful woman in white standing in the air. Chapter 38-48. Yunshi walked through the snow like a peerless fairy and killed the villains with a swing of her sword. Only the leader of the black-robed men was left staring at Yunshi in fear. Her clothes were whiter than snow, her sword was like autumn water, and her face was peerless. This scene seemed to only appear in a painting. Such a peerless woman was like someone in a painting, giving off an ethereal feeling. This scene was still deeply imprinted in the minds of Lu Daniu and his wife even after they died a long time ago. Even a 3-year-old child like Lu Tianji could vaguely remember being saved by a fairy in a snowy forest when he was young. You dare to kill the Black Wolf Guards who serve Lord Wolf God? The leader of the black-robed men said in a trembling voice. Humph! Black Wolf Guards? You're just like an ant. Yunshi looked down at the black-robed man who was trembling in extreme fear. You! Lord Wolf God will not let you go! The leader of the Black Wolf Guards glared at Yunshi like a wild beast. Ha ha! Yunshi laughed. Your so-called wolf god has already been slain by me. Impossible! The leader of the Black Wolf Guards was completely stunned when he heard Yunshi's words. Lord Wolf God was invincible and had protected Snow Wolf Town for thousands of years. Who could kill Lord Wolf God? It's just a wolf demon. So what if I've killed him? What's the big deal? Yunshi said coldly. I'll kill you! The leader of the Black Wolf Guards roared angrily and pounced at Yunshi. His body emitted a silver demonic light. Unlike ordinary Black Wolf Guards, this fellow was actually a cultivator. However, he was only a little fellow who had just become a demonic cultivator. Whoosh! Yunshi's sword moved and the snowflakes were instantly split into two. Yunshi then ignored the leader of the Black Wolf Guards. Come with me! Yunshi arrived in front of Lu Dania's family, and waved her sleeve. A ball of immortal light appeared and enveloped Lu Dania's family in an instant. The next moment, Yunshi brought them into the sky and disappeared into the snowstorm under the shocked gazes of Lu Dania's family. A long while after Yunshi left, the leader of the Black Wolf Guards finally collapsed stiffly. The snow continued to fall. Very soon, the corpses of the Black Wolf Guard leader and his subordinates were covered by the snow. Peace returned to the mountain forest, as if nothing had happened. At this time, Snow Wolf Town was in chaos. The place where the divine temple was located was on fire. No one would pay attention to the tiny Snow Wolf Town in the middle of the mountains. It should be known that there were countless small towns like this in the hundreds of millions of miles of the Primogenitor mountain range. At this moment, a black-clothed young man was walking up a mountain path in the Primogenitor mountain range step by step under a coiling dragon and crouching tiger. Halfway up the mountain, two green-robed men stopped the black-robed youth. Halt! The Dragon Mountain has been sealed. Please return, one of the young cultivators said to the black-robed young man. Tisk, junior brother, why are you being so polite to this guy? Can't you just ask him to scram? A middle-aged cultivator beside the young cultivator looked at the black-robed young man with disdain. Dragon Mountain was an ancient relic in the Primogenitor mountain range that wasn't dangerous. Moreover, it was located at the periphery of the Primogenitor mountain range. Therefore, many cultivators would come here every year to try their luck. However, today, a big shot was going to descend on Dragon Mountain range. Therefore, someone had sealed the Dragon Mountain range. Many cultivators who wanted to ascend to the peak were chased down halfway up the mountain. Fellow cultivator, you should leave, the young cultivator said politely. Hee kid, if you know what's good for you, scram. My junior brother has a good temper, but I don't. The middle-aged cultivator stared at the black-robed young man and said coldly. Is that so? The black-robed young man was Gu Fei. He smiled but didn't move. He didn't expect that someone would dare to block his path. I'd like to see why your temper isn't good. Gu Fei looked at the middle-aged cultivator and said with a faint smile. This guy was only an immortal lord. In the Primogenitor world, immortal lords were a dime a dozen. They weren't anything special. From their clothes, Gu Fei could already guess the background of these two fellas. The subordinates of the Supreme Black Tortoise were a mix of good and bad. You! The middle-aged cultivator was about to explode. However, at this moment, an immortal light descended from the sky and landed beside Gu Fei. A gentle breeze blew Gu Fei's clothes. As the immortal light dissipated, a graceful figure appeared in front of the two subordinates of the Supreme Black Tortoise. Fairy, please stop! At this moment, the middle-aged cultivator's expression changed instantly. He smiled politely. Master, why are you still here? The white-robed fairy didn't even look at the middle-aged cultivator. In her eyes there was only Gu Fei. The middle-aged cultivator was shocked, angry, and embarrassed. This last actually dared to ignore him? He was a dignified immortal lord. Countless fairies would flock to him with just a word from him. However, Yunshi's disregard deeply hurt the middle-aged cultivator, causing his pride to instantly collapse. We can't go up Dragon Mountain anymore. Please return. The young cultivator was still very polite. Get lost! The middle-aged cultivator flew into a rage out of humiliation and roared at Gu Fei and his disciple. If it wasn't for the fact that he was trying his best to restrain himself, he would have already killed these two despicable fellas. How did that black tortoise guy teach such arrogant and despotic disciples? Yunshi said coldly. What? You dare to call my ancestor's name directly? Are you two bastards courting death? The middle-aged cultivator completely exploded. He was already very unhappy that he was sent to guard the mountain. Now, he could vent his anger on these two fellas. Senior brother, you! The young cultivator's expression finally changed. He knew the senior brother's temper very well. This senior brother would really kill these two people. How dare you be disrespectful to my master? Yunshi looked at the middle-aged cultivator and a murderous aura spread from her body. What? You want to fight? So what if I'm disrespectful to him? Ha ha! The middle-aged cultivator said arrogantly. Then you can go and die, Yunshi said and waved her right hand. A sword light flashed across the middle-aged cultivator's neck. In the next moment, the middle-aged cultivator's eyes bulged, and he looked at Yunshi in disbelief. How could a mere immortal kill him? Just now, he wanted to dodge but found that he couldn't move at all. He could only watch as Yunshi's sword slashed at his neck. As the last of his consciousness disappeared, the middle-aged cultivator's head fell to the ground. What? The young cultivator was scared out of his wits. Chapter 3849. Gu Fei and Yunshi walked towards the peak of Dragon Mountain step by step. At this moment, the people of the Supreme Xuanwu were alarmed and more than 10 figures rushed down from the peak. These people were all experts, far more powerful than the 2 guards at the mountain gate. The person in the lead rode on a sword and a violent sage aura spread in all directions. Behind this sword saint, there were 13 other saints who were also above the sage level. These saints all displayed their abilities. Some rode on magic treasures, some rode on saint beasts, and the roars of the saint beasts were earth-shattering. Some of the saints walked over leisurely with a sage-like demeanor. A total of 14 divine might of the divine Tao converged together to form an extremely powerful divine might of the divine Tao. All the cultivators in the vicinity of Dragon Mountain turned their gazes towards the peak of Dragon Mountain in shock. Who's so arrogant to actually dare to provoke the Black Tortoise Sovereign? TSK, with the appearance of the Wheel of Heavens and Earth, I wonder how many Supremes have come to the Primogenitor Mountain range. What does the Supreme Xuanwu amount to? Someone said disapprovingly. That too. Many people nodded. Although the Supreme Xuanwu was strong, it didn't mean that no one dared to offend him. How dare you barge into the mountain and kill people? Don't you know that the Dragon Mountain has been taken over by my master, the Supreme Xuanwu? The dozen saints who rushed down from the peak of Dragon Mountain came before Gu Fei and Yunshi. The sword saint who led the group roared at Gu Fei. Master, I've only heard of people taking over a fish pond. I've never heard of anyone taking over an ancient relic. Master, you're knowledgeable. Have you seen anyone taking over an ancient relic? Yunshi didn't look at the sword saint and asked Gu Fei for guidance. Under the envelopment of Gu Fei's aura, she didn't fear the might of the saints at all. I've never heard of anyone taking over an ancient relic either. It's an eye-opener today. Gu Fei glanced at the saints in front of him and said calmly, You're courting death. The sword saint who led the group had a ferocious look in his eyes. In the next moment, he waved his right hand and a dazzling sword light shot out from his body. Buzz! When the sword saint made his move, the cry of his sword filled the 9 heavens, and his life and death were terrifying. When had Yunshi ever seen such a scene? His face turned pale. There's no need to be afraid. He's just an ant. Gu Fei's voice rang out beside Yunshi's ear. Then, Yunshi felt her entire body heat up as a powerful force instantly surged into her body. In the next moment, clang! The divine sword on her back was unsheathed and turned into a shocking sword aura, going up against the divine way sword aura that was coming at her. Ha ha! How dare a mere immortal like you attack the sword sage? The group of saints roared with laughter. However, in the next moment, those high and mighty saints couldn't laugh anymore because Yunshi's sword light had actually destroyed that sword saint's sword light. Yunshi's sword light immediately descended and directly strangled the sword saint's body. You! The sword saint looked at Yunshi in horror as if he had seen a ghost. A bloody gash suddenly appeared between his brows, and with a bang, his entire body exploded. Blood splattered all over the faces of those saints. The saints who had been laughing recklessly and arrogantly just now were all dumbfounded when they saw this scene. The boiling hot blood drenched their bodies and stimulated their nerves. How is this possible? A middle-aged saint's voice trembled. That was a sword saint, a sword Tao saint, yet he was killed by a kid in the immortal realm just like that. It was like a dream. Let's attack together and kill these two fellas. One of the saints roared angrily. Kill! The 13 saints attacked at the same time. 13 saint-level Tao weapons blasted towards Gu Fei and his disciple. The violent power of the sage Tao shook the void. Gu Fei still stood with his hands behind his back. In the face of such a powerful attack, he still had a calm look on his face. However, at this moment Yunxi moved. She seemed to be filled with power, as if she could cut down the sun in the sky with a single slash of her sword. Immortal swordlight dashed out from Yunxi's hand. With a sweep of the swordlight, the saint-level Tao weapons exploded in the sky one after another. As long as the saint-level Tao weapons were swept by Yunxi's swordlight, they would immediately shatter in the void. It was extremely powerful. Looking from the outside of Dragon Mountain, it was as if balls of light that resembled divine suns had appeared on Dragon Mountain. Violent divine Tao aura spread out, and it could be sensed even from millions of kilometers away. What's going on? At the peak of a mountain 10,000 miles away, a figure suddenly turned around and looked in the direction of the Dragon Mountain. This person was the Supreme Black Tortoise. There were two people standing beside the Supreme Black Tortoise. They were the two great ancestors of the Li clan, the second and third ancestor of the Li clan. *T. The Supreme Black Tortoise's expression suddenly changed. He took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void. He had come to welcome the two great ancestors of the Li clan, but he had forgotten that the disciples he had left behind on the Dragon Mountain did not know Gu Fei at all. If a conflict were to arise, someone would die. The two great ancestors of the Li clan exchanged glances and immediately chased after him. When the Black Tortoise Exalt strode out from the sky, he just happened to see 13 saints being struck by a ray of light, and then they fell to the ground and perished. You're courting death. The Supreme Black Tortoise's eyes were bloodshot. 13 saints had been killed and his heart was bleeding. Therefore, he attacked Yunxi the moment he arrived, wanting to take revenge for his subordinates. However, just as the Supreme Black Tortoise was about to grab Yunxi, a hand suddenly reached out from the side and blocked the Supreme Black Tortoise's grab. You! The Supreme Black Tortoise turned around and glared at the owner of the arm. When he saw the appearance of this person, he swallowed the word scram back down his throat. What? Taoist Gu? The Supreme Black Tortoise said in shock. Black Tortoise, is this how you treat your guests? Gu Fei looked at the Supreme Black Tortoise and said indifferently. This? The Supreme Black Tortoise did not know what to say for a moment. He did not have to ask to know that his subordinates had definitely offended this killing god. One must know that Gu Fei was a supreme and would never kill someone for no reason. What's going on? At this moment, the two great ancestors of the Li clan had already arrived. When they saw this scene, they were a little shocked. Forget it, the wheel of the heavens and realms is about to appear. We'll talk about it after that. The Supreme Black Tortoise said. His heart was bleeding. Chapter 3850. The moment Gu Fei and his disciple arrived, they killed 14 of the Supreme Black Tortoise's subordinates, including a sword saint. This shocked and angered the Supreme Black Tortoise. However, the Supreme Black Tortoise didn't dare to flare up. He could only swallow the bitter fruit. At the end of the day, he had been careless. When Gu Fei arrived at the Supreme Black Tortoise's ancestral land, not many of his subordinates had seen Gu Fei. If they knew Gu Fei, they wouldn't have dared to provoke this killer. Gu Fei's murderous nature was so strong that even some of the veteran Supremes would feel ashamed. His battle record was simply too heaven-defying, suppressing all the Supremes in the southern region of the ancestral realm. The Shooting Sun Supreme and the Li clan lowered their heads. Throughout the ages, only that person had such authority. At this moment, Gu Fei and his disciple were invited to the peak of Dragon Mountain by the Supreme Black Tortoise and the Li clan's 2 progenitors. The peak of Dragon Mountain was filled with dilapidated buildings. The ancient ruins of Dragon Mountain were actually ruins. There were only a few broken walls standing in this wasteland. At a glance, the entire mountain covered a radius of 100 miles. This mountain was much higher than the surrounding mountains, giving off a feeling of being a crane among chickens. At this moment, the people of the Supreme Black Tortoise had already built some simple buildings on a flat piece of land in the ruins. Some of the saint-level cultivators took out pavilions and threw them out. The small pavilions instantly expanded and soon turned into jade palaces that floated in the sky. Gu Fei noticed that there were also saint-level experts setting up a large formation with Dragon Mountain as the center. Although Dragon Mountain was an ancient ruin, it was the center of the surrounding mountains within hundreds of thousands of miles. It was where the essence of the earth gathered. With this mountain as the eye of the formation, a large formation could easily gather the essence of the mountains within hundreds of thousands of miles and set up a powerful killing formation. Sovereign Black Tortoise had chosen to rendezvous with Gu Fei and the Li clan's 2 progenitors because he saw that this place could be used. At this moment, the Black Tortoise Supreme being released the Sacred Hall. The Sacred Hall flew up into the sky and expanded rapidly, turning into a gigantic Sacred Hall. An astonishing aura erupted from the temple, intimidating everyone in the surroundings. "Fellow Taoist Gu, fellow Taoists from the Li clan, please!" Supreme Black Tortoise said to Gu Fei and the 2 Li clan progenitors. Gu Fei glanced at the divine hall in the sky before waving his hand. He directly took off with Yunxi and landed before the entrance of the divine hall. Divine light flickered. The 2 ancestors of the Li clan also came up. The last one was Supreme Black Tortoise. As soon as the divine hall appeared, it immediately activated the formation of Dragon Coiling Mountain. Countless formation inscriptions appeared in the air before vanishing as if they had never appeared in the first place. Guarding the center and intimidating all directions. "This formation isn't bad." The 3rd ancestor of the Li clan nodded. He was in extreme supremacy. His divine sense instantly enveloped the entire formation, so he naturally knew the actual situation of the formation. At this moment, as the formation continued to be perfected, the spiritual essence of the earth and mountains began to gather towards the formation. The vague silhouette of a dragon could be vaguely seen in the air. Within the hall, Supreme Black Tortoise sat on the highest seat, while Gu Fei and the 2 ancestors of the Li clan sat below. After all, they were guests. "Fellow Taoist Black Tortoise, where's the person you arranged to meet?" The 3rd ancestor of the Li clan leaned against the back of his chair lazily. He glanced at Supreme Black Tortoise and asked calmly, "Haha!" As soon as the 3rd ancestor of the Li clan finished speaking, a loud laugh came from outside the sacred hall. In the next moment, a figure directly rushed in. This person was dressed in a sloppy Taoist robe. His hair was disheveled, and he was barefooted. A large purple gourd was tied to his waist. This person was actually a sloppy old Taoist. As soon as this sloppy old Taoist entered, everyone could smell a scent. Everyone couldn't help but frown. "Crazy Taoist?" The 3rd ancestor of the Li clan exclaimed as soon as he saw this sloppy old Taoist. "This fellow actually isn't dead yet?" Even the expression of the 2nd ancestor of the Li clan turned solemn. He had never imagined that Supreme Black Tortoise would actually invite this fellow. This was the first time that Gu Fei had seen Crazy Taoist, so he sized him up curiously. Why are the 2 little fellows from the Li clan here too?" As soon as Crazy Taoist entered, he immediately found a chair and sat down. He then glanced at the 2 ancestors of the Li clan before his gaze landed on Gu Fei. "That must be that extreme supremacy legend." As he spoke, Crazy Taoist removed the purple gourd from his waist, removed the stopper, and drank a mouthful of wine. Then, he plugged the mouth of the gourd and tied the purple gourd to his waist. Gu Fei didn't say anything. He only quietly sized up this Taoist. Just as Crazy Taoist arrived, another figure rushed in from outside. A ruthless aura immediately filled every inch of the void in the hall. Gu Fei looked at that person and saw that it was a tall fellow with muscles all over his body. He looked like an iron tower, and there was a faint layer of golden divine light circulating around his body. Proving one's Tao through strength, metal elemental supremacy? Gu Fei couldn't help but be a little moved when he saw this big fellow. No one knew better than him how difficult it was to prove one's Tao through strength, because he had also walked the path of proving one's Tao through strength. This is the Metal Clan's golden sacred supremacy. Supreme Black Tortoise introduced him to Gu Fei and the others. Metal Clan? The two ancestors of the Li clan couldn't help but be moved. This Metal Clan should be the Metal Elemental Divine Clan of the Ancestral Realm's 5 Elemental Divine Clans. The 5 Elemental Divine Clans were of the same breadth and branches, and each clan had an extreme supremacy presiding over it. Once the 5 Elemental Divine Clans joined forces, they would definitely be an immeasurable force. Supreme Golden Sacred Supremacy only nodded at Supreme Black Tortoise before sitting down silently. When he saw Gu Fei, his gaze paused for a moment before he retracted his gaze. Brother Golden, this is the legend I mentioned to you before, Gu Fei, Taoist Gu. Supreme Black Tortoise introduced to Supreme Golden Sacred Supremacy. Supreme Black Tortoise continued. These two are the 2 great ancestors of the Li clan, and this is Crazy Taoist. Supreme Golden Sacred Supremacy didn't say anything when he heard Supreme Black Tortoise introduce the 2 great ancestors of the Li clan. However, when it came to Crazy Taoist, a bright light flashed in the depths of his eyes. Although Crazy Taoist looked crazy on the surface and loved drinking as much as his life, he was also a rare extreme Tao expert in the southern territory of the Ancestral Realm. No one dared to underestimate Crazy Taoist. At this moment, there were already 6 supremacies gathered in the main hall. However, this still wasn't enough. If they wanted to compete for the wheel of the myriad realms, they would need to invite more extreme Tao supremacy. However, Gu Fei didn't mind. With his strength, there was no need for him to ask for help. Chapter 3851. Even Gu Fei was surprised that the Supreme Black Tortoise was able to invite so many Supreme Supremes. One must know that Supreme Supremes weren't just any ordinary cultivators. Even in the primogenitor realm, it was impossible to see any Supreme Supremes under normal circumstances. In fact, what Gu Fei didn't know was that the Supreme Black Tortoise wouldn't be able to invite so many Supreme Supremes under normal circumstances. However, things weren't the same as usual. The appearance of the Wheel of the Myriad Heavens and Realms had attracted all the Supreme Supremes in the primogenitor realm. Under such circumstances, only the strong would stand a chance of obtaining the Wheel of the Myriad Heavens and Realms. If they fought alone, they wouldn't even be able to see the shadow of the Wheel of the Myriad Heavens and Realms. At the peak of the Dragon Mountain, above the ancient ruins, a palace floated in the air. A figure walked over from afar and entered the palace. 6 Supreme Supremes sat in the palace. At this moment, Gu Fei and the others looked at the entrance of the palace. A white-robed woman bathed in white light walked into the palace step by step. Her silhouette and appearance were blurry. No one could see her appearance clearly. This is... Gu Fei couldn't help but be surprised when he saw this woman. This was the first time he saw a female Supreme Supremes. Moreover, even he couldn't see her appearance clearly. This white-robed woman gave Gu Fei an illusory and surreal feeling. The Supreme Ethereal is here. At this moment, the Supreme Black Tortoise stood up from his seat. The mysterious and unfathomable Lord of Mist? The 2 primogenitors of the Li clan were shocked. The Supreme Ethereal was definitely the most mysterious Supreme Supremes in the southern region of the primogenitor realm. This was because no one had ever seen his true appearance. In other words, those who had seen the Supreme Ethereal were all dead. The Supreme Golden Saint was moved as well. He immediately activated his God's Eye, wanting to see through the illusions and see the true face of the Supreme Misty. In his eyes, golden Tao patterns interweaved. This was the Heaven's Golden Eye's secret technique. Countless great Tao laws appeared before his eyes. However, the Golden Sage Sovereign discovered that his Heaven's Path Golden Pupil's secret technique was unable to see through the aura of the Great Tao emanating from the Ethereal Sovereign. Even with the Great Tao Divine Eyes, he couldn't see through the Misty Supremacy's true appearance. Even the Great Tao Divine Eyes couldn't make out Misty Supremacy's true appearance. "You do have some ability." The two primogenitors of the Li clan were curious as well. However, even after using their secret arts, they were unable to see through Paragon Ethereal's cultivation state. The two primogenitors couldn't help but be shocked. Only Gu Fei and Mad Taoist remained calm and composed. Following the arrival of the Ethereal Exalt, 7 utmost Exalts were gathered in the palace hall. However, in the eyes of the Black Tortoise Exalt and the others, it was still not enough. If there were too few people, they might not even see the shadow of the myriad world wheel before retreating in defeat. If they were unlucky, they might even perish in the Primogenitor mountain range. Every time the wheel of the myriad heavens and realms appeared, an extreme supremacy would fall. There were no exceptions. Therefore, the Black Tortoise Supreme Sovereign had no choice but to be prepared. Not long after Paragon Misty arrived, a heavenly rock flew over from the distance and charged into the palace. It then took human form and stood in the middle of the palace. Supreme Sky Rock had arrived. This was a demonic supremacy. He was also the last supremacy of the Black Tortoise Supremacy. With the 8 supremacies gathered, it was enough to sweep through the entire southern region of the Primogenitor realm. In fact, Supreme Black Tortoise had wanted to invite Supreme Shooting Sun as well. However, it was a pity that Supreme Shooting Sun had rejected the offer. The two primogenitors of the Li clan did not invite anyone. With the strength of the two primogenitors and Gu Fei, who could contend against them? One had to know that Gu Fei was a legendary extreme Tao legend. Gu Fei had been in the limelight recently. All the supremacies present were cautious around him. Even the Golden Sacred Supremacy, the Ethereal Supremacy, and Supreme Sky Rock were wary of Gu Fei. "Are the legendary extreme Tao legends really that strong?" Supreme Sky Rock stared at Gu Fei and said disdainfully. Gu Fei did not say anything. He couldn't be bothered with Supreme Sky Rock. "That's simple. Won't you two find out after a fight?" Mad Taoist said calmly. "That's right." Everyone nodded. However, Supreme Sky Rock wasn't a fool. He naturally wouldn't be so stupid as to challenge Gu Fei to a one-on-one fight. "All right, the Wheel of the Heavens and Realms is about to appear. Let's conserve our strength to fight for the Wheel of the Heavens and Realms." Supreme Black Tortoise came out to mediate. "If anyone wants to court death, I'll be more than happy to oblige." Gu Fei suddenly looked up at Supreme Sky Rock and said, "This?" Supreme Sky Rock was shocked and furious. In the end, he chose to swallow his anger. There were many rooms in the sacred hall. Apart from Supreme Black Tortoise, Gu Fei and the others were arranged to stay in the sacred hall and wait for the Wheel of the Heavens and Realms to appear. The Primogenitor mountain range was very quiet. Everyone knew that this was just the atmosphere before the storm. No one knew how many extreme Tao supremacies had entered the Primogenitor mountain range. Time disappeared day by day. Boom! On the third day, a loud sound completely broke the silence of the Primogenitor mountain range. The entire Primogenitor mountain range was shaking in fear. Then, a vast and mighty aura that seemed to originate from ancient times spread out. "Is it finally coming into being?" Everyone in the Primogenitor mountain range was alarmed. Figures of extreme Tao supremacies appeared in the sky, and all the extreme Tao supremacies looked in the direction of the sound. At this moment, Gu Fei only felt that the piece of black iron he was playing with suddenly vibrated as if it was about to fly out of his hand. This black item was what Gu Fei suspected to be a fragment of the Wheel of the Heavens and Realms. Gu Fei suddenly glanced at Yunxi and said, "Enter the inner world first. This is no longer a place for you to stay." "Yes, master," Yunxi hurriedly replied. She was well aware of her own capabilities. Gu Fei then waved his big sleeve and Yunxi directly disappeared into the void. She was stored in his inner world. At this moment, the Black Tortoise Supreme's voice rang in Gu Fei's mind. Soon, The 8 great supremacies gathered in the main hall again. The wheel of the heavens and realms has finally come into being, the Black Tortoise Supreme said excitedly. Then what are we waiting for? The Golden Saint Supreme stood up and said loudly. At this moment, an extreme force descended from the sky and directly smashed down on the main hall. The extremely powerful energy wave shook the void. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire hall shook violently. The 8 great supremacies in the hall were shocked and furious. Someone actually attacked the Dragon Mountain. The Golden Saint Supreme let out a furious roar and directly rushed out. The Black Tortoise Supreme and the others also rushed out. Only Gu Fei and Crazy Taoists remained calm. Chapter 3852. No one had expected an extreme grade Supreme to come to their doorstep. Even the Black Tortoise Supreme was shocked. He had just set up camp here and the other party was already here. Wasn't this a little too fast? Of course, an extreme grade Supreme like the Black Tortoise couldn't be hidden from the other extreme grade Supremes. However, this was clearly an ambush aimed at the Black Tortoise Supreme. Boom! At this moment, a boundless black aura descended from the sky, enveloping the entire Dragon Mountain and even the mountain ridges near it. The protective array that the Black Tortoise had set up was immediately activated. A ball of divine light enveloped the entire Dragon Mountain. The endless black gas was blocked outside. However, the Supreme Black Tortoise's formation only protected Dragon Mountain. Living beings outside of the formation's area of protection suffered a calamity. The black gas spread as if doomsday had arrived. Countless living beings were corroded by the black gas and turned into dust. Even the flowers and trees withered and turned into black dust. Black Wind, what are you trying to do? When the Black Tortoise Sovereign came out of the palace, he raised his head and saw his archenemy, the Black Wind Sovereign, displaying his might. The black aura that enveloped the entire sky came from the Black Wind Sovereign. Haha, Black Tortoise, you're asking me what I'm trying to do? You're really stupid. The Black Wind Supreme stood high up in the sky and laughed. Get lost! The Black Tortoise roared. The Black Wind Supreme was too despicable. Brother Black Wind, why are you still wasting your breath on these dead people? Let's send them on their way. Another skinny Supreme who was hidden in a black robe said coldly. What are we waiting for? We don't have much time to waste here. The third Paragon was a little impatient. His entire body was covered in black demonic markings, and there was even a vertical eye in the middle of his brows. This vertical eye was closed and did not open. The three-eyed demons? The Black Tortoise couldn't help but be shocked when he saw the demon. Black Wind, I didn't expect you to be willing to fall and collude with the demons. At this moment, the Golden Saint Supreme roared at the Black Wind Supreme. Jinxing, you have chosen the wrong side this time. The consequences are very serious. The Black Wind Sovereign said coldly. He had once invited the Golden Saint Sovereign, but was rejected by the latter. Humph! I'm ashamed to be associated with you. The Golden Sage Sovereign's body revolved with a golden radiance, as he glared at the Black Wind Sovereign in the sky like a furious Vajra. Oh my, isn't this Taoist brother Tianping? Why are you here? The Black Wind Supreme Martial Artist looked at the Sky Rock Supreme Martial Artist. At this moment, his triple demon annihilation formation had already been formed. The Supreme Martial Artists on the Dragon Coiling Mountain were like caged birds. Black Wind, you are courting death! The second progenitor of the Li clan stared at the black figure in the sky and sneered. Li clan brothers? The Black Wind Sovereign laughed. Let's get rid of these guys in one fell swoop and then divide up their territory. Ha ha! The mysterious Supreme Being hidden under the black robe let out a voice that was even more unpleasant to hear than the wailing of ghosts. Netherworld, don't be so arrogant here. The ones who will cry in the end might be you guys. The Sky Rock Supreme Martial Artist suddenly said. Gu Fei and Crazy Taoist were here. How could these three guys defeat the Crazy Taoist and Gu Fei with the triple demon annihilation formation? Everyone on Dragon Mountain was calm and unperturbed. They were not afraid of the three Supremes in the sky at all. Haha, they are still so stubborn even in the face of death. Very well, let's send them on their way. The three-eyed demon lord laughed wantonly. All right. Haha, let's send these fools on their way. The Black Wind Supreme Martial Artist and the Netherworld Supreme Martial Artist laughed and attacked together. The three-eyed demon lord also attacked. The entire formation was activated immediately. The triple demon annihilation formation exploded. The entire formation seemed to have turned into a huge millstone. The dragon coiling mountain was like a bean in the middle of the millstone. It seemed like it could be crushed at any time. However, this bean was extremely hard, and it was difficult to grind this bean into pieces. At this time, Gu Fei and the crazy Taoist didn't come out. They were still sitting leisurely in the main hall. He couldn't be bothered with those guys outside. The crazy Taoist was the best at playing the fool. When he saw that Gu Fei wasn't moving, he naturally didn't move either. The crazy Taoist thought to himself, the Black Tortoise and the others are too stupid. It's safest to stay by the side of a supreme martial artist. Boom! At this time, a sudden tremor came from outside. The entire temple shook and a terrifying aura of destruction surged in from outside. Divine runes of the Great Tao immediately appeared on the temple. These runes released the power of the Great Tao and fixed the entire temple in place. Black Wind, die! An angry roar came from outside the temple. It was the furious roar of the Black Tortoise Supreme Martial Artist. At this time, the Black Tortoise Supreme Martial Artist made a move outside the temple. The killing formation that enveloped the entire Dragon Mountain revolved crazily to resist the demonic power of the Tri-Ultimate Demon formation. Along with the Black Tortoise Supreme Martial Artist's roar, an extremely sharp swordlight directly rushed out of the formation and instantly slashed into the black mist in the sky. Wherever the swordlight passed, a pitch-black spatial crack was left in the void. The power of the sword that split the void made the three-eyed demon lord's eyelids twitch. One must know that the void of the ancestral realm was extremely stable. Even an extreme supreme martial artist couldn't easily break the void. Haha! The Black Wind Supreme Martial Artist laughed, and instantly turned into a cloud of black gas. The extremely sharp swordlight slashed through the black gas. In the next moment, the Black Wind Supreme Martial Artist figure once again appeared in the black gas. The sword that could split the void actually couldn't hurt the Black Wind Supreme Martial Artist at all. Humph! Is that all you've got? The three-eyed demon lord sneered. At this moment, the demonic runes on his body began to emit demonic light. The demonic light grew brighter and brighter until his entire body was emitting demonic light. A huge demonic shadow emerged from his body and a terrifying demonic aura spread in all directions. He was like a supreme primogenitor of the demonic path that looked down on the heavens. The three-eyed demon lord was actually the primogenitor of the three-eyed demons. Although he was extremely powerful, he was still weaker than the primogenitor of the primitive demons. The power of the Tri-Ultimate Demon formation instantly multiplied. Demonic shadows appeared in the demonic formation and pounced towards the peak of the Dragon Mountain. Boom! 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 Those demonic shadows directly collided with the layer of divine light that enveloped the Dragon Mountain. The divine light shook violently and gradually dimmed. The power of the killing formation laid out by the Black Tortoise Supreme Martial Artist was being corroded by the demonic energy. This. Chapter 3853. Genius 1 second. Remember, if you want to go? Show.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. The demonic formation laid down by the Black Wind Supreme and the others was incredible. It was one of the most powerful demonic formations of the demons. It wouldn't be used easily, but once it was used, it would definitely be earth-shattering. Last time, when the demons used this formation, they killed 2 famous supremes in the primogenitor realm. This was a formation that could kill supremes. This was also the reason why the expressions of the Golden Saint Sovereign and the others were extremely solemn. Apart from Gu Fei and Mad Taoist who had yet to come out of the main hall, no other supremes would be able to remain calm after being trapped by a demonic formation that could kill a supreme being. At this moment, the tri-ultimate demon formation displayed the might of the first ultimate. Countless terrifying demonic figures pounced towards the black tortoise, and the others from all directions, completely ignoring the divine light that shrouded the entire Dragon Mountain. Rumble! The entire world shook as a terrifying destructive aura swept out in all directions. Countless mountains in the surroundings were directly flattened. Cracks also appeared on the light barrier that enveloped the entire Dragon Mountain, as if it could shatter at any time. Kill! The sovereign of the black tortoise let out a furious roar as boundless divine light blossomed from his body. In that instant, he fused as one with the killing formation he had set up. In the next moment, countless rays of divine light shot out from the black tortoise sovereign's body. Those sword lights pierced through the layer of divine light and shot towards the demonic shadows that were pouncing over. Love goes small, say Netku one after another. Terrifying demonic shadows exploded under the immortal sword light. Countless demonic patterns dissipated in the void and were directly destroyed. Io struggling on your deathbed? The Black Wind Supremacy and the others were enraged when they saw this scene. In the next moment, the second transformation of the three ultimate demon formation was activated, which was also the second form of the three ultimate demon formation. In the next moment, the demonic aura that enveloped the entire Dragon Mountain was suddenly ignited, turning into monstrous demonic flames that burned the void. This demonic fire was all-pervasive, burning away the runes of Supreme Black Tortoise's grand formation and causing them to dissipate into the void. The power of the grand formation gradually weakened. Countless immortal sword lights slashed out from Supreme Black Tortoise's battle were annihilated by the demonic flames. What? Seeing this, the Black Tortoise Sovereign couldn't help being startled. The tridemised demon formation was truly powerful. His killing formation couldn't even withstand the second transformation. Boom! In the next moment, with a loud bang, the entire killing formation exploded, finally collapsing under the demonic flames. Brothers, help me! The Black Tortoise Sovereign roared. He was both shocked and enraged. This demonic formation was indeed worthy of being a super extreme killing formation that could kill supreme beings. His killing formation was also very powerful, but it paled in comparison to this demonic formation. The second form of the three ultimate demon formation, the sky incinerating demonic flames, directly broke through Supreme Black Tortoise's killing formation. In the next moment, illusory demonic shadows rushed out from the demonic flames. These demonic shadows were completely formed by the demonic flames. Each of them was like an extreme fire demon that had descended into the world, emitting a heaven-defying demonic aura. If one were to be pounced on by these demonic flames, even if they didn't die, they would lose half of their lives. At this moment, the Golden Saint Sovereign and the others instantly appeared beside the Black Tortoise Sovereign and placed their hands on the latter's body. Boom! In the next moment, a terrifying pressure that caused even the heavens to pale exploded from Supreme Black Tortoise's body, causing the entire world to tremble. At the same time, countless runes rushed out from Supreme Black Tortoise's body, turning into countless sword lights. These sword lights slashed through the void, as though they could split the entire world into two. No one had expected that Supreme Black Tortoise was actually an expert in the Sword Dao. This was because Supreme Black Tortoise had never used the power of the Sword Dao when fighting others. Countless demonic shadows were slain, but even so, it was all for naught. This was because the third transformation of the three ultimate demon formation was about to be activated. To everyone's surprise, endless demonic flames were gathering. Soon, a gigantic demonic shadow appeared in the void. Rumble! This demonic shadow slapped down at Supreme Black Tortoise and the others. Because of this, everyone was shocked to the extreme. What's happening? When the cultivators in the distance saw this scene, they were shocked to the extreme. This was definitely a rhythm that could destroy the heavens and the earth. When supreme beings fight, mortals suffer. Boom! With a loud explosion, several figures immediately spat out mouthfuls of blood and retreated. Even Supreme Ethereal could not help but be shocked. How is this possible? Supreme Black Tortoise mumbled to himself, completely dumbfounded. Go to hell! At this moment, a furious roar came from the sky. Following that, a gigantic demonic claw came down from the sky, enveloping the entire mountain. A terrifying destructive force erupted once again. This time, it was much stronger than before. "Brother Gu, what are you waiting for?" Supreme Black Tortoise suddenly yelled at the sacred hall. At this moment, Supreme Golden Sage, Supreme Ethereal, the Li Clan brothers, and Supreme Sky Rock were all affected, especially Supreme Black Tortoise. Even though Supreme Black Tortoise was severely injured, he could recover instantly even if he was blasted into smithereens with his cultivation. Not to mention that it was just a minor injury to his supreme body. "Ha ha! No one will come to save you even if you call for me." The Black Wind Sovereign laughed heartily. "You guys are dead meat. Who in this world can save someone from the three ultimate demon formation?" The three-eyed demon lord glared at Supreme Black Tortoise and said in disdain, "Is that so?" At this moment, a lazy voice was suddenly heard. Everyone quickly looked in the direction of the voice and saw a black-robed young man walking out of the hall. Behind this black-robed young man was a sloppy old Taoist. Mad Taoist? When the Black Wind Sovereign saw the sloppy Taoist, he was shocked and exclaimed in surprise, "What? He's Mad Taoist?" Hearing this, Three-Eyed Demon Sovereign was also startled. The closed demonic eye on his forehead suddenly moved, as if it was about to open. "Mad Taoist? I didn't expect Supreme Black Tortoise to invite this guy here." Supreme Nether's eyes lit up. "You bastards, why are you staring at your grandfather?" Mad Taoist was instantly displeased when he saw everyone staring at him. "I've always kept a low profile." The Black Wind Sovereign and the others had actually ignored Gu Fei, who was walking in front of Mad Taoist. This left the Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others speechless. These fellows actually failed to recognize an extreme grade legend in front of them. Chapter 3854. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go? Shoanet provides you with wonderful novels to read. Neither the three-eyed demon Venerable nor the Netherworld Overlord had seen Gu Fei, nor had they appeared in the Primogenitor mountain range when Gu Fei was undergoing his sovereign tribulation. Love go small say Netka for existences like them, as long as it didn't involve their lives, they wouldn't easily leave the mountain. However, it was different this time. The appearance of the multiverse wheel had shocked even the super old-timers. After all, this was a chance to become the ruler of the primogenitor realm. Furthermore, for extreme Tao sovereigns, the wheel of the heavens and myriad realms might be an opportunity for them to make another breakthrough. There might be even higher realms above the extreme Tao. Of course, this was only the conjecture of the extreme grade supremes. After all, no one in the primogenitor realm could truly break through the shackles of the extreme grade and cultivate to a higher realm. The extreme Tao was the limit of the Tao. It had long been recognized as the highest realm in the myriad worlds. The extreme Tao sovereign was the strongest existence in the myriad worlds. However, some supreme beings believed that there were even higher cultivation realms above the extreme grade. For utmost supremes, raising their cultivation realm would allow them to obtain true invincible strength and cultivate their undying body. At that time, they would be able to exist in the world for all eternity. One had to know that even an extreme Tao supremacy could fall. At this moment, the Black Wind Sovereign felt that Gu Fei looked a little familiar, but he couldn't figure out who this black-clothed youth was. "Black Wind, Three-Eyed Baby, and Nether Brat, what are the three of you doing?" Mad Taoist raised his head and glanced at the three supreme beings in the sky. Then, he took off the purple gourd at his waist, pulled out the cork, and raised his head to drink a large mouthful. However, none of the three supreme beings in the sky dared to underestimate the Mad Taoist. Even though this fellow was crazy, he was definitely an old monster among supreme beings. He had lived for endless years, his figure already appearing in Ancestral Realm's legendary era. Mad Taoist had lived well until now and had experienced the darkest era of the primogenitor realm. Since this guy was able to live to this day, he naturally had extraordinary means. Those who looked down on crazy Taoists had probably already become a pile of dirt. Mad Taoist, I'm very sorry. Three-eyed demon sovereign stared at the drunk crazy Taoist, and said coldly. The vertical eye between his eyebrows moved slightly as if it was about to open. You even want to kill this old man? Mad Taoist was a little annoyed. He had always kept a low profile, but he couldn't do so even if he wanted to. This made him feel helpless. At this time, the triple demon formation was still operating crazily. Endless demonic power directly condensed into a terrifying demonic shadow. The demonic figure stood between the heavens and earth, with the stars above its head and its feet on the ground. It was like a primogenitor demon descending into the world. The supreme demonic might spread out for billions of miles, startling all the supreme beings in the primogenitor mountain range. Those fellows from the Devil Clan? The extreme grade supremes in the primogenitor mountain range were all shocked. In the primogenitor realm, although the demons weren't considered public enemies, their reputation was very bad. Moreover, the superforces in the primogenitor realm had more or less a grudge against the demons. The demons were also quite influential in the primogenitor realm. The 12 primogenitor demons presided over the demon domain, so the superforces in the primogenitor realm weren't willing to provoke the 12 primogenitor demons. The darkest period of the primogenitor realm was because of the war between the primogenitor realm's superforces and the demons. This war lasted for countless years, resulting in the death of countless living beings. Many of the primogenitor demon domain's supremes also died. In the end, only the 12 primogenitor demons survived. The superforces in the primogenitor realm also suffered great losses. Many of the forces that had existed for countless years declined and disappeared in the merciless passage of time. Send them on their way. Black Wind Sovereign couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Mad Taoist. He had an indescribable feeling of unease. He seemed to have seen the black-robed youth standing behind Mad Taoist somewhere. All right. Three-eyed demon sovereign and Nether sovereign nodded. Then, Three-eyed demon sovereign took out a demonic artifact and held it in his hand. It was a 9-story demonic pagoda. When the demonic pagoda appeared, the faces of Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others changed drastically. You actually brought this thing here. Golden Sage Sovereign stared at the demonic pagoda in Three-eyed demon sovereign's hand and said with an unnatural voice. Heavenly demon pagoda? The eyes of the drunken Mad Taoist immediately lit up as if he had sobered up. His expression turned solemn. No wonder you guys dared to ambush us. So you brought the heavenly demon pagoda. Sky Rock Sovereign stared at Three-eyed demon sovereign and said while gritting his teeth. Hee, we're not fools. 3 of us against 8 of you? If it wasn't for the ultimate killing weapon, we wouldn't have been so foolish to come looking for you guys. Nether Sovereign said coldly. Humph. Is the heavenly demon pagoda very powerful? Gooface said disapprovingly. Taoist Goo, this heavenly demon pagoda has a great origin. It's an ultimate demonic artifact refined by the 12 primogenitor demons. It's known as the number 1 demonic artifact in the primogenitor realm. Mad Taoist's tone was incomparably solemn. He had been too careless. To think that these brats had plotted against him. He was really regressing as he lived. Number 1 demonic artifact? Gooface smiled disdainfully. He was very curious. If the number 1 divine artifact of the primogenitor realm were to face the number 1 demonic artifact of the demons of the primogenitor realm, who would be stronger? Who would be afraid of a Tao artifact? If 1 wasn't enough, then 2. If 2 wasn't enough, then 3 or 4. The number 1 demonic artifact of the primogenitor realm? That was nothing in Gooface's eyes. Preposterous. You dared to look down on the ultimate demonic artifact of my race? Three-eyed demon sovereign was furious when he saw that Gooface dared to look down on the heavenly demon pagoda in his hand. In the next moment, he activated the heavenly demon pagoda and the 9-story demonic pagoda flew up from his hand. The demonic pagoda rapidly grew to the size of a mountain, directly suppressing the sky above Black Tortoise and the others. Boom! In the next moment, the heavenly demon pagoda erupted with a supreme demonic might that made even Mad Taoist's heart palpitate. In the 9-story demonic pagoda, A demonic figure could be faintly seen on each floor. The legend is actually true. Mad Taoist's expression was incomparably solemn. What legend? Gu Fei asked curiously. The might of the heavenly demon pagoda was astonishing, and its might was naturally incomparably great. It could already contend against the mountain and river cauldron. Even supreme Tao artifacts like the peerless ominous saber and the purple gold divine sword would probably be slightly inferior to it. Legend has it that the 12 ancestral demons of the demon realm captured 9 great supremes and refined them into the 9 great demonic spirits of the heavenly demon pagoda. Back then, it was precisely because the 9 great supremes were captured that caused panic. After that, the various superforces had no choice but to join forces to attack the primogenitor demon realm. Mad Taoist said with an incomparably solemn expression. What? Black Tortoise and the others couldn't help but turn pale with fright when they heard that. This was simply a shocking act. The 12 ancestral demons were truly daring. They actually refined 9 great supremes into the demonic spirits of the heavenly demon pagoda. Didn't that mean that the heavenly demon pagoda had 9 terrifying existences at the extreme Tao level? Everyone's expression changed when they thought of this. Chapter 3855. The moment the heavenly demon tower appeared, it immediately stunned the Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others. The three-eyed demon sovereign couldn't help feeling proud. With the heavenly demon tower in his hands, he didn't even care about the Mad Taoist. Brother Netherworld, Brother Black Wind, what are you waiting for? Let's activate the heavenly demon tower and send them on their way. The three-eyed demon sovereign said to the Black Wind Sovereign and the Netherworld Sovereign. Ha. All right. The Netherworld Sovereign nodded. Getting rid of 8 sovereigns at once was enough to intimidate the supreme sovereigns in the primogenitor mountain range. Only the Black Wind Sovereign felt more and more uneasy. But at this moment, the Black Wind Sovereign couldn't care less. He bit the tip of his tongue and spat a mouthful of blood essence onto the heavenly demon tower. The three-eyed sovereign and the Netherworld Sovereign also spat a mouthful of blood essence onto the heavenly demon tower. The heavenly demon tower quickly devoured the blood essence. In the next moment, it was as if a supreme demon that had been slumbering for countless years had awakened. The heavenly demon tower trembled continuously. In just an instant, the torrential demonic energy gathered by the tridemised demon formation was completely devoured by the heavenly demon tower. The terrifying demonic might shocked and sealed the surroundings. Rumble! The 9-floored demonic tower was already under everyone's gaze. It was like a terrifying demonic mountain that came crashing down from the sky. The demonic aura that descended from the demonic tower danced like a demonic dragon. The heavenly demon tower actually required the blood essence of 3 supreme sovereigns in order to unleash its true might. This shocked the Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others. In the next moment, they felt an extreme demonic might descend. At this moment, the difference in the cultivation of the supreme sovereigns was immediately revealed. The Sky Rock Sovereign and Golden Saint immediately knelt on one knee. Even though they circulated their mysterious arts with all their might, they still couldn't stand up. The Black Tortoise Sovereign was slightly stronger than the Sky Rock Sovereign and Golden Saint, so he could still stand up. The Leaf family's 2 primogenitors and the Ethereal Sovereign's cultivation were slightly higher than the Black Tortoise Sovereign's, but they still had to circulate their mysterious arts to resist the might descending from the sky. Only Gu Fei and the Mad Taoists remained standing. This three-eyed demon sovereign and the Netherworld Sovereign didn't think much of it, but Black Wind Sovereign was startled to see that the black-robed youth in front of the divine palace was able to remain calm. Could he be? The Black Wind Sovereign suddenly thought of a person, and his expression immediately changed. Brother Black Wind, what's wrong? Could it be that you're afraid that you won't be able to deal with these fellows? The Netherworld Sovereign noticed the change in the Black Wind Sovereign. Hee. Fellow Taoists, don't worry. In the current primogenitor realm, apart from a limited number of extreme-grade Tao artifacts that can fight against the heavenly demon tower, the other Tao artifacts and sovereigns will only have one outcome against the heavenly demon tower, and that is to be completely obliterated. Three-eyed demon sovereign said confidently. Yes, that's true. I was thinking too much. The Black Wind Sovereign nodded. At this moment, the demonic power that erupted from the demon tower continued to skyrocket. Very soon, countless cracks appeared on the divine hall behind Gu Fei and the others. Finally, boom! The entire divine hall could not withstand the suppressive power of the heavenly demon tower and directly collapsed in the void. Countless Tao patterns were annihilated. As the divine hall collapsed in the sky, the 8 sovereigns were directly suppressed by the heavenly demon tower and fell onto the ruins of the peak of Dragon Mountain. At this moment, the disciples of the Black Tortoise Sovereign on Dragon Mountain were directly crushed into clouds of blood mist by the suppressive power of the heavenly demon tower. Their bodies and souls were destroyed. Roar! The Black Tortoise Supreme was on the verge of going berserk at the sight of this. There were many of his Saint Realm subordinates gathered on this mountain. How could these Saint Realm experts perish just like that? Among the saints who died under the supreme demonic might, there were even a few quasi-sovereigns. The power of the heavenly demon tower was simply too strong. Even those quasi-sovereigns could not withstand it, let alone the other saints. The power of the saints who were destroyed in body and soul actually soared into the sky and was instantly devoured by the heavenly demon tower. Seeing this scene, the Supremes on Dragon Mountain were shocked. The heavenly demon tower could actually devour the essence of the cultivators who were killed by it. This was definitely not a good thing for the Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others. Interesting. Gu Fei was still calm. He raised his head and looked at the heavenly demon tower that was slowly descending like a demonic mountain. His eyes could not help but narrow. After devouring the essence of dozens of saints, the demonic might that erupted from the heavenly demon tower became even stronger. The demonic tower was intimidating in all directions, and the entire heaven and earth was shaking. The sky seemed to be on the verge of exploding. At this moment, many figures of the extreme Tao appeared near Dragon Mountain. However, these Supremes were just watching and did not show any signs of helping. With the appearance of the Wheel of Heavens and myriad realms, these Supremes could not wait for Gu Fei and the others to die. This way, there would be many less competitors. Roar! The Black Tortoise Sovereign made his move. He directly took out a tortoise shell. The tortoise shell became as huge as a mountain and directly collided with the heavenly demon tower and the sky. Boom! In the next moment, the tortoise shell violently collided with the heavenly demon tower. However, the tortoise shell was directly sent flying by the heavenly demon tower. At the same time, Supreme Sky Ping and Supreme Golden Saint also made their moves. Supreme Sky Ping opened his mouth and a battle spear shot out. The battle spear directly pierced through the void and instantly pierced the heavenly demon tower. However, there was no suspense. The battle spear was also sent flying. Supreme Sky Ping's body trembled and a trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Space-time reversal! The second progenitor of the Li clan made his move. He immediately used his most powerful technique. The entire void of heaven and earth was distorted, and he wanted to hit the heavenly demon tower into the space-time turbulence. However, the heavenly demon tower shook lightly and directly dispersed the second progenitor's space-time power. The second progenitor felt as if he had been hit by an invisible hammer. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. In the face of absolute power, even the space-time power was useless. This was the ultimate power that Gu Fei had always been pursuing. As long as his power was strong enough, all the great Tao powers would not be able to withstand a single blow, and would be ruthlessly trampled under his feet. The heavenly demon tower was truly too powerful. Even the 4 Supremes were unable to block this supreme demonic weapon that was known as the #1 demonic weapon in the primogenitor realm. Supreme Ethereal also made his move. Instantly, a wave of water vapor rose from the top of the mountain. In the next moment, it was as if a boundless ocean had appeared at the peak of Dragon Mountain, blocking the heavenly demon tower. Water elemental power? Seeing this, Gu Fei could not help but be shocked. This supreme ethereal actually cultivated the water elemental power. The softest thing in the world was water. However, the power of Supreme Ethereal was still able to stop the Heavenly Demon Tower for a moment. Chapter 3856. In the region where Dragon Mountain was located, killing intent soared into the sky. A towering demonic tower was descending from the sky. Terrifying demonic energy poured down from the top of the demonic tower, causing the entire sky to tremble. Especially the void under the demonic tower, it directly collapsed and was annihilated. Is this the power of the Primogenitor Realm's #1 demonic artifact? Gu Fei raised his head to look at the heavenly demon tower descending from the skies. He couldn't help but be moved. This demonic artifact was indeed extraordinary for it to be called the #1 demonic artifact in the Primogenitor Realm. It wasn't that he hadn't seen demonic artifacts before, but this heavenly demon tower was the most powerful one he had ever seen. At this moment, the ethereal paragon unleashed his full power. Boundless amounts of water elemental energy gushed forth from his body. However, the heavenly demon pagoda continued smashing downwards, instantly dissipating the water elemental energy of the ethereal paragon. What? The Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others were both shocked and enraged. The heavenly demon tower's strength had far exceeded their expectations. As expected of the #1 demonic artifact that could kill sovereigns. Haha! You're just a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The three-eyed demon sovereign laughed wantonly. At this moment, powerful and mysterious figures were faintly discernible in every level of the heavenly demon tower. Among the 8 sovereigns, the Sky Rock Sovereign, the Golden Sage Sovereign, the Li Clan's 2 primogenitors, the Black Tortoise Sovereign, and the Ethereal Sovereign had all made their moves. Only Gu Fei and the Mad Taoist had yet to make a move. The Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others couldn't stop the heavenly demon tower at all. Fellow Taoist, what are you waiting for? Gu Fei asked the Mad Taoist beside him. Let Taoist Gu do it. The Mad Taoist hurriedly shook his head. He had to keep a low profile. You 2 bastards. You're already at death's door, yet you're still in the mood to squabble? The Black Wind Sovereign said disdainfully. Rumble. The heavenly demon tower annihilated everything in its path under the full power of the Black Wind Sovereign and the others. Its terrifying demonic might was much stronger than the average extreme demonic sovereign. Since Mad Taoist didn't intend to make a move, Gu Fei naturally wouldn't resign himself to death. He directly punched upwards, and a violent and domineering aura surged out from his body. Boom! With a loud sound, Gu Fei's fist collided with the descending heavenly demon tower. Gu Fei's arm trembled slightly, releasing an unprecedented power. In the next moment, the three-eyed demon sovereign and the others witnessed an unbelievable scene. Gu Fei had actually blocked the Primogenitor Realm's #1 demonic artifact. How is this possible? The three-eyed demon sovereign's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. It's him. At this moment, the Black Wind Supremacy finally recalled who this black-robed youth was. He was so shocked that he nearly fell from the sky. Why are you making a fuss? The Nether Supremacy couldn't help but follow the Black Wind Supremacy's gaze. He saw that the Black Wind Supremacy was looking at the black-robed youth below. Black Wind, you're getting worse and worse. However, a little fellow actually scared you out of your wits? The three-eyed demon sovereign said. He's Gu Fei. The Black Wind Supremacy was on the verge of tears. He never expected the Black Tortoise Supremacy to invite Gu Fei. If he knew that Gu Fei was here, he wouldn't have made a move even if the Primogenitor Demon Sovereign personally invited him. Three-eyed, you bastard! I'm going to die because of your love this time. The Black Wind Supremacy didn't dare to fight anymore. He actually turned around and fled in fear. The Nether Supremacy and the Three-Eyed Demon Sovereign were dumbfounded. Wait, Gu Fei? I seem to have heard this name somewhere before. The Nether Supremacy suddenly said. Haha. You ignorant fellas don't even know Taoist Gu. You're really blind. The Black Tortoise Supremacy laughed. At this moment, Gu Fei blocked the heavenly demon tower that came crashing down from the sky. The other cultivators on the peak of Dragon Mountain heaved a sigh of relief as they felt the pressure on them lessen. Roar! At this moment, Gu Fei let out an angry roar. The entire void collapsed under his roar. The 9 types of perfect great Tao powers exploded from his body. Extreme Destruction Fist! Gu Fei struck out his strongest punch. The 9 types of great Tao powers instantly gathered on his fist before he smashed it onto the heavenly demon tower. Dong! It was as if a supreme exalt had struck a war drum, causing the entire world to tremble violently. In the next moment, the heavenly demon tower was sent flying high into the sky by Gu Fei's extreme destruction punch under Exalt 3-eyed and Exalt Nether's incredulous gazes. Although the heavenly demon tower wasn't destroyed by Gu Fei's extreme destruction fist, a fist mark was left at the bottom of the heavenly demon tower. Seeing the fist mark at the bottom of the heavenly demon tower, the 3-eyed demon lord and the Nether Supremacy couldn't help but gasp. This was too shocking. This Gu Fei was able to leave a fist mark on the heavenly demon tower with just the strength of his physical body. Could it be that the strength of his physical body had reached such a level? This was simply unheard of. At the moment when Gu Fei sent the heavenly demon tower flying with his fist, Gu Fei shot up into the sky and chased after the Black Wind Supremacy. Kill! The Black Tortoise Supremacy and the others roared and shot up into the sky from the peak of Dragon Mountain, attacking the 3-eyed demon lord and the Nether Supremacy. What? The 3-eyed demon lord and the Nether Supremacy were shocked when they saw this. This was 6 supremacies attacking at the same time. Even someone as strong as the 3-eyed demon lord and the Nether Supremacy would be dumbfounded. The 3-eyed demon lord and the Nether Supremacy shot up into the sky and chased after the heavenly demon tower. At this moment, Gu Fei had already caught up to the Black Wind Supremacy. Senior Gu, please spare my life. The Black Wind Supremacy was so frightened that he sprawled on the ground and shivered. There was no need for Gu Fei to do anything. I can spare you. Gu Fei didn't want to kill the Black Wind Supremacy either. After all, he was a supreme. It would be a pity to kill him. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Gu Fei wouldn't kill a supreme. Gu Fei directly imprinted a mark into the Black Wind Supremacy's body. In the next moment, the Black Wind Supremacy could feel the changes in his body. The Black Wind Supremacy's face was ashen. He had completely lost his freedom. Boom! A loud sound was heard. The Black Tortoise Supremacy and the others had already started fighting with the 3-eyed demon lord and the Nether Supremacy. The power of the extreme Tao level spread out, and all living beings within a radius of billions of miles could feel it. Let's go back. After saying that, Gu Fei's figure suddenly disappeared into the void, without a trace. The Black Wind Supremacy hurriedly rushed back to Dragon Mountain. All of you can go to hell. The 3-eyed demon lord roared and a destructive demonic light shot out from the vertical eye between his brows, sweeping towards the Black Tortoise Supremacy and the others. Chapter 3857. A great battle broke out in the sky above Dragon Mountain. The 3-eyed demon lord opened the vertical eye between his brows. In the next moment, a terrifying destructive demonic light swept towards everyone. The Black Tortoise Supreme was shocked and quickly dodged. The 2 ancestors of the Li clan, as well as Supreme Sky Rock, Supreme Ethereal, and Supreme Golden Sage, were all blocked by the 3-eyed demon lord. At this moment, the Netherworld Overlord soared into the sky and extended his hand to grab the heavenly demon tower, which had been sent flying by Gu Fei. Boom! The Nether Supreme activated the heavenly demon tower with all his might. In the next moment, a figure appeared on every level of the tower. The aura of the 9 mysterious existences was too shocking. Are you done yet? The 3-eyed demon lord roared. At this moment, it was extremely strenuous for him to block the 6 Supremes alone. Caught off guard, Supreme Sky Rock landed a punch on his back, causing him to spit out blood continuously. Kill! At this moment, the Nether Supreme held the heavenly demon tower in his hand and descended from the sky. Hum! He bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood on the heavenly demon tower. In the next moment, the entire heavenly demon tower seemed to come to life and devoured the blood completely. Then, a terrifying demonic power erupted from the heavenly demon tower and sent the attacking Supreme Black Tortoise and the others flying. Damn! The Supreme Black Tortoise spat out a mouthful of blood and his clothes were dyed red. The power that erupted from the heavenly demon tower was simply unstoppable. It was a power that could kill Supremes. With the heavenly demon tower in hand, the Nether Supreme could sweep through the entire ancestral realm. Haha! I have the heavenly demon tower! You guys are just ants! The Nether Supreme laughed maniacally. The faces of the Supreme Black Tortoise and the others changed when they heard the Nether Supreme's words. At this moment, two figures appeared high up in the sky. The Supreme Black Tortoise and the others were surprised and delighted when they saw the figures in the sky. Heaven trampling step, trample the heavens with 1 foot! Without any hesitation, Gu Fei immediately used the sky trampling steps. With just a single step, he arrived above the Nether Sovereign's head in an instant, and stomped his foot down. Rumble! As Gu Fei took a step forward, the spiritual energy of the world immediately gathered towards him in a frenzy. Roar! The Lord of the Netherworld roared furiously, and raised the heavenly demon tower in his hand. Boom! Gu Fei did not hesitate. Under everyone's shocked gazes, he actually stepped on the heavenly demon tower, and a powerful rebound came from the heavenly demon tower. This time, Gu Fei did not display the level-breaking secret technique. Black Wind, are you crazy? Suddenly, the three-eyed demon exulted roared furiously. You're the crazy one! The Black Wind Sovereign hated the three-eyed demon sovereign to the extreme. If it wasn't for that fellow, he wouldn't have met Gu Fei and wouldn't have had the restriction placed on him by Gu Fei. Kill! The Black Wind Sovereign roared. In the next moment, countless wind blades slashed towards the three-eyed demon sovereign. Humph! The three-eyed demon sovereign sneered, and the vertical eye between his brows shot out a destructive demonic light towards the Black Wind Sovereign. Countless wind blades shattered in the void under the destructive demonic light. At this moment, the Black Tortoise Sovereign and the two ancestors of the Li clan attacked again. Space-time reversal! The second ancestor of the Li clan directly displayed his strongest killer move, and the power of space-time surged out, causing the entire void to distort. Everything was too crazy. The three-eyed demon sovereign opened his vertical eye again and directly destroyed the space-time power. When the second ancestor of the Li clan saw this, his shock was no small matter. However, just as the second ancestor of the Li clan was shocked, a vast water elemental power erupted from the peak of the Dragon Mountain. It was as if a vast ocean had appeared on the peak of the Dragon Mountain. The three-eyed demon sovereign's movements immediately slowed down. Swoosh! Sovereign Sky Rock seized this rare opportunity, and cleaved three-eyed demon sovereign in two with a single slash. Seeing this scene, the Lord of the Netherworld, who was fighting with Gu Fei, was shocked. He directly lifted the heavenly demon tower and turned to escape. At this moment, a divine arrow suddenly shot from afar and directly hit the Lord of the Netherworld. The Lord of the Netherworld looked down in disbelief at the divine arrow that was stuck in his chest. The killing power that erupted from the divine arrow had directly destroyed his vitality. In the next moment, Gu Fei had already caught up and snatched the heavenly demon tower. I'll send you on your way! Gu Fei punched out. Bam! The Lord of the Netherworld couldn't even withstand a single punch from Gu Fei. One had to know that these guys were all supreme beings of the extreme path. Gu Fei's attack was like breaking dry weeds and smashing rotten wood, directly killing the experts of the three great demons. This scene shocked the supreme beings to the extreme. The legend of the extreme path really lives up to its name. Some of the older supreme beings sighed. The scene of Gu Fei killing the supreme beings with a raise of his hand was deeply imprinted in the minds of those supreme beings. Congratulations, Master, on obtaining the number 1 demonic weapon, the Black Wind Sovereign said hurriedly. Gu Fei held the heavenly demon tower and carefully observed it, but he couldn't see anything. The power of the heavenly demon tower was indeed shocking, but now, this number 1 demonic weapon had fallen into his hands. He reckoned that the demons in the demonic domain would be hopping mad. The Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others gathered and looked at the number 1 demonic weapon in Gu Fei's hands with envy. However, they didn't dare to have any improper thoughts. Rumble! Suddenly, a muffled thunder-like sound came from the depths of the mountain, causing everyone's spirits to shake. At this moment, Gu Fei didn't hesitate any longer. He turned into a ray of divine light and soared into the sky, heading towards the depths of the Primogenitor mountain range. The Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others looked at each other and also soared into the sky, heading in the direction of the sound. At this moment, in the depths of the Primogenitor mountain range, corpses of cultivators could be seen from time to time. The void was filled with the smell of blood. This was a merciless massacre. Every time the wheel of the myriad heavens and realms appeared, many people would die. The turmoil caused by it usually took more than a decade to calm down. All the major forces suffered a great loss of vitality. This time was no exception. Before the shadow of the wheel of the myriad heavens and realms could be seen, 3 supreme beings had already been killed by Gu Fei. The legend of the extreme path, Gu Fei, had become a supreme being killer. Swoosh! Gu Fei landed on a mountain peak. The area before him was shrouded in mist, visible to the naked eye. This was definitely a cultivation treasure ground that cultivators could only dream of. The invisible sound waves spread out, and those with weaker cultivations almost fainted. They were so frightened that they hurriedly retreated far away. This is... Gu Fei was shocked. At this moment, he felt the mysterious object in his inner world vibrating. It was a fragment from the wheel of myriad worlds in the heavens. The fragment quickly calmed down, as if nothing had happened. The energy within the mountain in front of them gradually weakened and seemed to have calmed down. However, Gu Fei knew that this was just a prelude. Everything had just begun. All the extreme grade supremes were observing and did not want to be the first to make a move. One had to know that the first person to make a move would usually be unlucky. Not only would they not get anything, but they would also be killed by others at any time. Existences that could cultivate to the extreme grade supremes were naturally extremely intelligent. No one would do such a stupid thing. Boom! An hour later, another sound came from within the mountain in front of them. This time, the entire mountain shook and countless rocks rolled down the mountain. What's going on? Supremacy Black Tortoise came to Gu Fei's side and stared at the mountain in front of them. His eyes flickered. I don't know either, Gu Fei said. He looked at the mountain in front of him indifferently. Although he looked calm, his heart was in turmoil. The thing in the mountain wanted to rush out. Roar! At this moment, a furious roar came from afar. A terrifying sound wave spread out and dispersed the spiritual energy around the mountain. At the same time, an immortal divine light suddenly appeared in the void and pierced into the mountain. However, the entire mountain was still standing tall on the ground. The moment the immortal divine light rushed into the mountain only shook a little. Seeing this scene, even Gu Fei could not help but be moved. Someone continued to probe. This time, a black-armored general riding on a warhorse and wielding a spear appeared on the mountain. His berserk aura spread out, and even the heavens and earth changed color. This was definitely an existence of the extreme grade supremes. The protector of the Primogenitor mountain range? Someone exclaimed. Back in the Primogenitor mountain range, the protector of the Primogenitor mountain range made a move and chased away the Primal Chaos Supreme and the Supreme Demon Venerate. That battle proved that there was a protector in the Primogenitor mountain range. The legends were not groundless. Some of the legends were true. This mountain was the Primogenitor mountain in the Primogenitor mountain range. The location of the Primogenitor mountain range was the best treasure land in the entire Primogenitor mountain range. If one were to cultivate here, even an honorable would receive great benefits, let alone ordinary cultivators. Roar! At this moment, the protector of the Primogenitor mountain range roared. The terrifying sound wave spread out and shook the entire sky. Swoosh! That terrifying existence made his move. With just a single strike, the battle spear in his hand pierced through the void and instantly arrived in front of an extreme grade sovereign. What? When the extreme grade sovereign saw this, he tried to dodge without a second thought. However, he couldn't dodge at all. With a soft sound, the battle spear directly pierced through the body of the extreme grade sovereign. The extreme grade supreme was shocked and furious. He immediately retreated. This way, no one dared to test the waters again. At this moment, the news of Gu Fei defeating the Netherworld Supreme and the others finally reached the vicinity. All the extreme grade Supreme who received the news were indescribably shocked. How is this possible? He subdued the Black Wind Supreme, defeated the Netherworld Supreme and the Three-Eyed Demon Venerate, and obtained the Heavenly Demon Tower. How is this possible? Someone whispered, his voice trembling with nervousness. This was like a dream. Everything seemed so unreal. One must know that the three Supremes with the Heavenly Demon Tower were enough to contend against any Supreme. However, it was a pity that they had offended someone they shouldn't have. This Gu Fei is too powerful, someone said. It was difficult to kill an existence at the extreme grade, but it did not mean that they could live forever. At this moment, the mysterious fragment in Gu Fei's inner world vibrated again, as if it could break through the void and rush out at any time. Gu Fei's heart skipped a beat. In the next moment, he directly broke through the void and took out the mysterious fragment. Hum! The mysterious fragment let out a buzzing sound and vibrated continuously in Gu Fei's hand. Formation patterns actually appeared on the pitch-black fragment. Rumble! The primogenitor mountain in front of him shook violently. Hideous cracks actually appeared on the mountain. No one knew why someone sealed the heavenly realm wheel in the primogenitor mountain. Every time the primogenitor mountain moved, it attracted the attention of countless extreme-grade supreme beings. This time, the heavenly realm wheel was really going to appear. At this moment, there were more and more cracks on the mountain. Huge rocks kept rolling down the mountain, creating loud noises. Many Supremes wished they could rush forward and enter the mountain to fight for the legendary wheel of the myriad realms. However, the guardian of the primogenitor mountain range was riding on a warhorse, wearing battle armor and holding a spear. He stood there majestically. Who would dare to take half a step forward? Gu Fei did not plan to make a move, at least not now. He was not in a hurry, but the other supreme beings were very anxious. Go to hell! An extreme-grade supreme being directly took out a sun-like divine radiance and blasted it towards the guardian of the primogenitor mountain range. A violent and powerful extreme-grade power erupted from the divine radiance. Swoosh! The protector of the primogenitor mountain range raised his hand and pierced the ball of divine light that blasted towards him. Boom! With a loud bang, the divine radiance directly exploded. The terrifying destructive power directly blasted a huge hole in the void. Even the chaotic aura was blasted out. However, the guardian of the primogenitor mountain range actually allowed the destructive power to hit him. He did not even frown. It was like a gentle breeze. The guardian of the primogenitor mountain range was really too powerful. The supreme beings gasped when they saw this scene. At this time, Gu Fei suddenly sensed the auras of the chaotic supreme being and the supreme demon Venerate. These two fellas had finally arrived. However, they were far away from the guardian of the primogenitor mountain range. However, the guardian of the primogenitor mountain range remained there and did not care about the chaotic supreme being and the supreme demon Venerate at all. Rumble. The primogenitor mountain was constantly shaking as though it was about to collapse. However, the depressing thing was that the primogenitor mountain did not collapse. Supremacy. At this time, a voice suddenly rang in Gu Fei's mind. Gu Fei scanned his surroundings and saw the shooting sun supremacy mingling with a few other supremacies. He was chatting cheerfully with them. The other supreme beings were also scattered around the primogenitor mountain. The Black Tortoise Supreme and the others did not know that Gu Fei had a backup plan. In this case, Gu Fei was relieved. The cultivation of the Shooting Sun Supreme and the others was not bad. In the entire southern region, there were only a few existences that could contend against him. Gu Fei was determined to obtain the Universal Realm Wheel. However, he was not in a hurry and waited patiently. Boom! 4 hours later, With an earth-shattering sound, a huge hole suddenly exploded on the mountainside of the primogenitor mountain and a terrifying aura surged out. Chapter 38:59. In the depths of the primogenitor mountain range, a mountain towered into the clouds and pierced through the starry sky. This was the tallest and largest mountain in the primogenitor mountain range. It was called the Primogenitor Mountain. This place used to be a forbidden zone. Even an extreme grade sovereign would be in danger of dying upon entering the range of the Primogenitor Mountain. However, the Wheel of Heavens and Worlds had been sealed in the Primogenitor Mountain. The area around the Primogenitor Mountain was no longer a restricted area. The Wheel of Heavens and Myriad Realms was the #1 Tao artifact in the Primogenitor realm. It could only be sealed by the power of the Primogenitor mountain range. However, countless years had passed and the power of the seal had loosened. Every few tens of thousands of years or hundreds of thousands of years, the Myriad World Will would attack the seal, which would attract countless extreme Tao sovereigns to the Primogenitor mountain range. This was definitely a grand event, and even those super old fogies wouldn't be able to sit still. However, this also made Primogenitor mountain range incomparably dangerous. From time to time, great battles of extreme Tao would erupt, rippling out for millions and millions of li, causing countless creatures to fall. It could be said that every time an extreme grade battle broke out, the unlucky ones were countless other living beings, and it would lead to serious consequences. Of course, the extreme Tao Supremes were high and mighty, looking down on billions of living beings. They would not care about the life and death of ordinary living beings. At that moment, there was a loud explosion. The entire Primogenitor mountain shook. Countless runes emerged from the Primogenitor mountain and enveloped it. Every rune was like a supreme Tao pattern nurtured by heaven and earth, and every rune was enough to make ordinary Supremes retreat. What truly moved Gu Fei was that every rune was condensed from Grand Mist energy. It seemed like it was the work of the mysterious Grand Mist Supreme Being. Grand Mist Sovereign was the most mysterious and powerful sovereign in the Primogenitor realm. He was so mysterious that even ordinary extreme Tao experts didn't know of his existence. Only a few super old fogies knew of the existence of Grand Mist Supremes. Not only did the Grand Mist Sovereign seal the ancient Archevil ancestor in the Primogenitor mountain range, but he also sealed the Myriad World Wheel in the Primogenitor mountain range. What was he trying to do? Gu Fei was shocked and curious at the same time. The Grand Mist Sovereign's methods were too shocking. After all, he was an existence that could seal the Myriad World Wheel. That was the #1 ancestral artifact in the Primogenitor realm. It wasn't something that could be sealed so easily. Boom! Halfway up the Primogenitor mountain, a world-shaking rumble suddenly came out. A mass of primordial Tao light dispersed, and countless runes were dissipating. An item rushed out from a black hole halfway up the Primogenitor mountain. Buzz! As soon as this thing appeared, the pressure in the entire world instantly increased explosively by 10 times, causing the mountains to tremble incessantly and crumble into pieces. It was as terrifying as the end of the world. All living beings below the extreme supremacy stage had their souls shattered. Even if he was a quasi-supremacy, he instantly fell to the ground and became a soulless corpse. There were quite a number of quasi-supremes that came along with the extreme grade supremes. These people wanted to use this opportunity to break through the shackles of their cultivation. Unfortunately, what awaited them was death. At this time, that thing in the sky began to devour the heaven and earth essence energy from all directions. Countless Tao patterns emerged and intertwined on this thing. An aura that was far more powerful than any extreme grade Tao artifact that Gu Fei had seen before exploded from that thing in the sky. The entire void seemed to be annihilated. It's that thing, the Wheel of Myriad Worlds in the heavens! An extreme grade supremacy exclaimed. It's mine! An extreme grade supremacy directly made a move. A huge green hand grabbed at that thing in the sky, and a powerful extreme grade power erupted from the hand. Boom! In the next moment, when the cyan hand grabbed the item, the cyan hand actually exploded. Countless cyan inscriptions dissipated in the void. A cry of surprise was heard from afar. Swoosh! At the same time, a divine light rushed out from that thing in the sky and directly pierced in the direction of the voice. It was extremely fast. Wherever this beam of divine light passed, the void was directly torn apart. What? Upon seeing this, Gu Fei could not help but be shocked. One must know that the void in the primogenitor's realm was extremely stable. Even an extreme grade supremacy would find it difficult to break the void. However, that thing in the sky could easily break the void. This shocked Gu Fei. Humph! With a sneer, the extreme grade supremacy directly rushed out and dodged the divine light. Then, he directly rushed towards that thing in the sky. Trying to snatch the wheel of heavens and myriad realms? Have you asked for my permission? At this time, a loud shout was heard from afar. Then, a figure directly appeared in the distant sky. He took a step and instantly appeared in the sky above the primogenitor mountain. Boom! The two great grade supremes instantly clashed head-on. Both figures flew back at the same time, but immediately rushed back and fiercely pounced towards that thing in the sky. At this time, in the mountains around the primogenitor mountain, dozens of extreme-grade auras suddenly erupted. The terrifying extreme-grade auras caused the entire heaven and earth to become unstable. However, just as these supremes could not sit still and were about to fight for the wheel of heavens and myriad world, that thing in the sky suddenly shook. In the next moment, countless extreme-grade divine light shot out from that thing, as if a peerless extreme-grade divine weapon was exploding with annihilation sword light. The two extreme-grade supremes who pounced towards the wheel of heavens and myriad world were immediately the first to bear the brunt. The two supremes immediately activated their mystic arts to protect themselves. However, the divine light of the Great Path directly penetrated their protective divine light, and even penetrated their supreme bodies. The two great grade supremes were in disbelief, and horror was written all over their faces. Their vitality was rapidly draining away. Seeing this scene, all the extreme grade supremes panicked, and quickly dodged. The two extreme grade supremes who were penetrated by the extreme grade divine light fell from the sky and stopped moving. They died just like that. How is this possible? The other supremes were shocked to the extreme. They were extreme Taoist supreme beings, and not some ordinary cultivators. Wanting to kill an extreme Taoist supreme being was definitely not something that could be done easily. However, the two extreme grade supremacies had fallen just like that without any warning. Even they themselves had never imagined that they would die. Seeing this scene, the supremes were shocked. The wheel of heavens and myriad world could actually kill supremes. Even Gu Fei felt that it was unbelievable. Two extreme grade supremes actually died in the hands of an extreme grade divine weapon. Such a way of death was a little unjust. Chapter 3860. In the sky above the primogenitor mountain, a ball of extreme path divine light wrapped around an item as it floated in the void. The item was blurry. Even when Gu Fei used his martial path heavenly eye, he couldn't see if it was the legendary number 1 ancestral artifact in the primogenitor realm. However, the mysterious fragment in his hand was shaking violently, trying to break free from his hand and fly away. Gu Fei hurriedly used his mysterious art to suppress the mysterious fragment in his hand. At that moment, the surrounding extreme path supremes didn't say anything, nor did they make a move. That was because two supremes had actually died to that thing in the sky. It was actually a supreme ancestral artifact that could kill supremes. The wheel of the heavens and realms is actually this powerful? The Black Tortoise Supreme, who was standing behind Gu Fei, stared at the item in the sky with greed in his eyes. He couldn't wait to pounce forward and snatch the wheel of the heavens and realms. Some of the supremes became even more fervent when they saw how powerful the wheel of the heavens and realms was. If anyone obtained the wheel of the heavens and realms, wouldn't they immediately become invincible? However, no one dared to make a move carelessly. No one wanted to die here. None of you are going to make a move? I'll do it! A voice came from behind Gu Fei. He hurriedly turned around and saw the drunken deranged Taoist walking over. Star-plucking palm! Deranged Taoist's hand directly grabbed the item in the sky. Buzz! Like a peerless heavenly sword, the item let out another rumble. Then, more than a dozen divine lights of annihilation directly pierced through deranged Taoist. Deranged Taoist's body trembled. In the next moment, a ball of divine light directly surged out of his body and enveloped him. The dozen divine lights of annihilation that descended from the sky directly landed on deranged Taoist's protective divine light. In the next moment, everyone was dumbfounded. They saw that deranged Taoist's protective divine light actually blocked the dozen divine lights. At the same time, deranged Taoist's hand also grabbed the item in the sky. Just as it was about to be taken away by him, the divine lights penetrated through deranged Taoist's palm and rushed out. Deranged Taoist snorted coldly and directly let go of the item in the sky. Buzz! That thing in the sky trembled again. Countless rays of divine light suddenly erupted, blotting out the sky and piercing towards the mad Taoist at an extremely fast speed. Little guy, help! Mad Taoist screamed and hid behind Gu Fei. What? Gu Fei was taken aback. This guy actually wanted to use him to help him block the countless divine lights of extinction that fell from the sky. He wanted to dodge, but it was already too late. Damn it! Gu Fei had no choice but to press his right hand upwards. A wave of heaven transformation force immediately surged out from his hand. The divine light of annihilation that descended from the sky dimmed in an instant before completely disappearing into the void. This was a combat skill that Gu Fei had comprehended and belonged entirely to himself. It was called the Heaven Transforming Hand. You're still the best. Ha ha! Deranged Taoist was still playing the fool. The other Supremes on the mountain were slightly taken aback. If Gu Fei hadn't taken care of the divine light of extinction that fell from the sky, they would have been in grave danger. The way they looked at deranged Taoist changed. The thing in the sky could still retaliate, but it didn't target deranged Taoist. Perhaps it was a passive counterattack, or perhaps the god of the Tao treasure hadn't fully awakened yet. At this time, some of the super old-timers made their move. An immortal cloud suddenly appeared in the sky above the item and directly descended, enveloping it. However, in the next moment, rays of divine light of annihilation pierced through the immortal clouds, and then they dispersed. Even a Supreme Tao Immortal Ancestor was defeated? Someone exclaimed. Supreme Tao Immortal Ancestor was an ancient name. Right after the Supreme Celestial Ancestor made his move, another super antique made his move. A divine axe wrapped in extreme Tao godlight slashed at the myriad worlds wheel in the sky. Swoosh! The ultimate divine axe directly broke through the ball of divine light that enveloped the item, revealing the item inside. It was a black roulette that was not full of cracks and was still missing a portion. Clang! The extreme divine axe directly chopped down on the broken roulette, and in the next moment, the extreme divine axe was immediately sent flying. Boom! An even more powerful force erupted from the broken roulette, causing the surrounding void to collapse. The mountains within a radius of 100,000 miles were flattened and turned into dust in an instant. Only the primogenitor mountain was still standing tall on the ground. All of this made the sky seem like it was going to collapse. It was terrifying to the extreme. One after another, the figures of the extreme path rushed out and retreated into the distance. The extreme path's power that spread out from the broken wheel was too powerful. Even extreme Tao Supremes had no choice but to retreat. The mountain where Gu Fei was located was also affected, but Gu Fei didn't retreat. A powerful aura of the extreme path erupted from his body and enveloped the entire mountain. Rumble! That wave of extreme Tao power arrived, causing the entire mountain ridge to shake. Supreme Black Tortoise and the others on the mountain turned pale in fright, but since Gu Fei didn't retreat, they were too embarrassed to do so as well. Moreover, Gu Fei was an extreme Tao legend. As expected, Gu Fei managed to block the mighty extreme path's power. Who's that kid? He actually blocked the myriad worlds wheel's power! Someone exclaimed after noticing the scene. Could it be him? Someone looked at Gu Fei in bewilderment. Is he the legendary extreme Tao legend? Someone guessed Gu Fei's identity. At this time, Gu Fei stood on the mountain peak with his hands behind his back, looking at the myriad worlds wheel in the sky with an unfathomable look. What extreme Tao legend? Him? Someone said disdainfully. Lower your voice. You'll be in trouble if he hears you. Someone said softly. Tisk, what's there to be afraid of? A blue-haired Supreme Venerable who looked like a young man was still disdainful. Humph. At this time, Gu Fei suddenly looked at the blue-haired young man and a powerful spirit force directly hit that guy. In the next moment, that guy's body shook and he fell from the sky, smashing into the ground with a bang. When the surrounding extreme-grade Supremes saw this scene, they were taken aback. This fellow was too strong, wasn't he? To think that he could defeat an extreme-grade supremacy with just his spirit will. Roar! However, from the looks of it, even if several extreme Tao sovereigns attacked at the same time, they might not be able to suppress the universal world wheel. For a moment, no one made a move. Brother Gu, look! Sovereign Black Tortoise said to Gu Fei. The others looked at Gu Fei. Among the 8 paragons, Gu Fei's cultivation was the highest. In the primogenitor realm, where the strong preyed on the weak, whoever's fist was harder would be the boss. Therefore, even though the Black Tortoise and the others had cultivated for a much longer time than Gu Fei, they still didn't dare to act presumptuously in front of Gu Fei. Let them have some fun first. Gu Fei shrugged and said nonchalantly. Although the Wheel of Heavens and Worlds was known as the #1 extreme-grade Tao artifact in the primogenitor realm, it wasn't essential to him. It was merely a broken extreme-grade Tao artifact. Its power was extremely unstable and difficult to control. Even if he could obtain it, it would be a hot potato. Moreover, this extreme-grade Tao artifact had an inexplicable connection with the primogenitor mountain. Even if they joined forces, they might not be able to take the Wheel of Heavens and Worlds away. Everyone was speechless when they heard Gu Fei's words. How could he be so relaxed at such a time? At this moment, Gu Fei suddenly looked towards a mountain peak at the side and saw an old man standing at the peak. His aura was actually perfectly integrated with the surrounding heaven and earth. Even with Gu Fei's cultivation, he couldn't see through the old man's cultivation. At this moment, the protector of the primogenitor mountain range had already retreated into the primogenitor mountain and no longer appeared. This made the extreme supremes heave a sigh of relief. However, the protector of the primogenitor mountain range was still a threat. No one knew when he would come out again. The gray-robed old man on the mountain peak suddenly turned to look at Gu Fei and nodded at Gu Fei. However, at this moment, a terrifying extreme-grade aura came from another direction. The entire heaven and earth was filled with this aura, causing the extreme supremes' hearts to palpitate. This is... Gu Fei looked in the direction of the aura and saw a black-robed old man standing on a stone mountain over 100,000 miles away. Unlike the gray-robed old man from before, this black-robed old man did not conceal his aura at all. Just by standing there, he was domineering and the surrounding void trembled because of his existence. These were two extremes. The encounter between these two existences made Gu Fei a little curious. I didn't expect these two fellows to come. Deranged Taoist couldn't help frowning when he saw the two old men. Fellow Taoist, do you know the origins of these two? Supreme Sky Ping asked Deranged Taoist. Among all the Supremes present, Deranged Taoist had lived longer than any of them. He was truly a super antique. That fellow who is one with the Heavenly Tao is called the Heavenly Tao Sovereign. There's actually someone who calls himself the Heavenly Tao. What a joke! Deranged Taoist reeked of alcohol as if he was half drunk. Comparing himself to the Heavenly Tao. Everyone was shocked when they heard Deranged Taoist's words. This old man's cultivation was definitely incredible. What about the other one? Supreme Golden Sage asked curiously. The other one? Isn't it just the overlord with a fiery temper? Deranged Taoist swayed unstably as if he was really drunk. Ancient overlord? He's actually still alive? Supreme Black Tortoise and the others were shocked. They had never heard of the Heavenly Tao Sovereign who compared himself to the Heavenly Tao, but the ancient overlord was different. The ancient overlord came from the Tyrant clan, which used to be one of the most powerful clans in the primogenitor realm. However, in ancient times, for some unknown reason, the extremely prosperous tyrants actually disappeared overnight. Even the tyrant's ancestral land had disappeared. Since then, the Tyrant clan had completely disappeared from everyone's sight. However, the ancient overlord actually appeared here at this time. How could Supreme Black Tortoise and the others not be shocked? After so many years, the Tyrant clan was finally going to appear again? The appearance of the heavenly Tao sovereign and the ancient overlord immediately caused the atmosphere around the primogenitor mountain to become a little strange. All the Supremes were watching. The Tao weapon he left behind? The ancient overlord ignored Gu Fei and the others. He just stared at the ball of divine light in the sky. The fluctuation of the extreme Tao power that erupted from the ball of divine light was getting stronger and stronger. The power of the universal realm will seem to be endless, and it seemed like it could grow infinitely. It was already difficult for ordinary Supremes to get within 10,000 miles of the primogenitor mountain. The initial stage Supremes even retreated more than 100,000 miles away. The mighty extreme Tao power that spread from the sky shocked all directions. The difference in cultivation level of the Supremes around the primogenitor mountain was very obvious at this time. If it wasn't for the extreme Tao power enveloping the entire mountain from Gu Fei's body, even Supreme Black Tortoise and the others wouldn't be able to withstand such a powerful extreme Tao power. Roar! At this moment, the ancient overlord suddenly roared and directly pounced towards the ball of divine light in the sky. He then stretched out his hand and directly grabbed the ball of divine light in the sky. An endless domineering aura spread out, and the primogenitor mountain shook violently. All the Supremes were inexplicably shocked when they saw this scene. The universal realm will was taken away by the ancient overlord just like that? How was this possible? The ancient overlord's cultivation and combat strength were definitely not comparable to those Supremes from before. However, the moment when the ancient overlord was about to take away the universal realm wheel, it suddenly exploded. Boom! With a loud explosion, the ancient overlord's right hand and even a small portion of his body on the right side were instantly turned into nothingness. His entire body was sent flying more than 100,000 miles away. Everyone stared at this scene with their mouths agape. Roar! The ancient overlord roared into the sky, and a terrifying tyrannical aura spread out. All living beings within 100 million miles were terrified to the extreme. The ancient overlord's injuries were rapidly healing. Interesting. Gu Fei couldn't help but nod when he saw this. This fellow's physical body was too powerful. Even his blood was a treasure that alchemists could only dream of obtaining. A drop of blood essence from an extreme supremacy could be refined into a great medicine. However, there was no blood essence flowing out of the ancient overlord's body. At his cultivation level, his blood essence would not dissipate. Even if he was injured, his blood essence would not seep out of his wounds. In just 2 breaths' time, the ancient overlord had completely recovered. At this time, the Heavenly Law Supreme, who was said to be one with the Heavenly Law, also made a move. His move gave Gu Fei a fright. This fellow had actually drawn the power of the Heavenly Law to his body. Endless divine light of the Great Path descended from the sky and intertwined with each other, turning into a giant net that flew toward the ball of divine light in the sky. Without any suspense, the ball of divine light in the sky was directly caught by the giant net, and the Heavenly Law Supreme retracted the net. However, the moment the Heavenly Law Supreme retracted the net, countless divine light of the Great Path directly rushed out from the Heavenly Law wheel and directly cut through the Heavenly Law Supreme's giant net. The Heavenly Law Supreme couldn't help but be shocked. It was just a mere extreme path Tao artifact, but it was so powerful. Such combat strength was comparable to the peak of the extreme path supremacy. Even these two had failed, and the Black Tortoise Supreme and the others were in even more despair. No matter how powerful Gu Fei was, there was no way he could be stronger than the Ancient Overlord and the Heavenly Law Supreme. Some of the extreme path powerhouses had long since given up and retreated far away to watch the show. Only the super-old antiques were qualified to compete for the heavenly law wheel in the sky. Only they had the chance to become the supreme existence that unified the primogenitor realm. Chapter 3862. The power of the Wheel of Heaven's world had far exceeded everyone's expectations. Even Gu Fei did not expect that there would be an extreme Tao weapon stronger than the 10,000 deity ancestral sword and the mountain and river cauldron. Even Gu Fei acknowledged the power of the 10,000 deity ancestral sword and the mountain and river cauldron. Especially the mountain and river cauldron, the cauldron's soul definitely had the power to kill a supreme being. As for the 10,000 deity ancestral sword, it was the #1 divine weapon in the ancestral god realm. However, either the 10,000 deity ancestral sword nor the mountain and river cauldron gave Gu Fei such pressure. Buzz! The 10,000 deity ancestral sword in Gu Fei's body was vibrating, and the mountain and river cauldron was also stirring. However, he knew that it was not the time yet. At this moment, the ordinary supreme beings had already retreated, because they had lost the right to compete for the Wheel of Heaven's world. Rumble! The power of the heavens suppressed all directions, and the entire primogenitor mountain range was enveloped by the extreme Tao's power that erupted from the Wheel of Heaven's world. Countless living beings trembled under the power of the heavens. Even those as strong as extreme grade supremes were trembling under this pressure. Extreme grade initial stage supremes immediately retreated. Only middle stage supreme beings were holding on outside the primogenitor mountain range, while great stage supreme beings were lucky enough to watch the battle from thousands of miles away. To be precise, they were watching a show. A battle of this level was also very tempting to extreme stage supreme beings. A super expert has entered the stage. At this moment, on the mountain where Gu Fei was, Supreme Black Tortoise, who was standing behind Gu Fei, let out a sigh and looked a little gloomy. He had prepared so much for this matter, but in the end, he realized that all his efforts had been in vain. This was truly lamentable. If it wasn't for Gu Fei, they wouldn't have been so close to the Wheel of Heaven's world. The powerful aura that erupted from the Wheel of Heaven's world was beyond what they could withstand, be it Supreme Black Tortoise, Supreme Sky Ping, Supreme Ethereal, or Supreme Golden Sage. Even if the 4 great supremes joined forces and the 2 Li clan progenitors, they might not be able to withstand the might of the wheel of the myriad worlds of the heavens. Only the mad Taoist was still drunk. It seemed that nothing could attract his attention other than his wine. At that moment, the true experts of the ancestral realm appeared. The ancient overlord, the heavenly Tao Paragon, the first lightning ancestor, the golden crowed arch, and the ancestral demon race's ancestor, Demon Venerable Hun Tian. Every single one of the utmost beings that had appeared had an incredible background. Some of them were even rumored to have fallen countless years ago. Yet right now, they had leaped out once again. Among these fellows, there were some that were worshipped as totems by the natives of the ancestral realm, supreme gods of the primordial era. Paragon Black Tortoise and the others didn't even recognize most of these super antiques, and those who did made their eyes pop out of their sockets. Golden Crowed Arch, how is this guy still alive? Paragon Sky Rock's voice was trembling. This was definitely an existence that was terrifying to the extreme. Even in the primordial era, he was already a near-invincible expert. No one knew exactly how powerful the Golden Crowed Arch was after living to this day. Humph! At that moment, a figure in the distant sky suddenly turned around and looked at Paragon Sky Rock. A powerful spiritual force instantly transformed into a spear that pierced towards Paragon Sky Rock. This was a spiritual force attack. It was invisible and traceless, making it the most difficult to defend against. If Paragon Sky Rock was pierced, his soul would probably be instantly shattered and he would become a walking corpse. Even though they were hundreds of thousands of miles away, the Golden Crowed Arch could naturally hear Paragon Sky Rock's words as long as he wanted to, given his cultivation and divine abilities. You dared to kill someone in front of me? Gu Fei suddenly turned his head in the direction of the Golden Crowed Arch, and a purple-gold divine radiance instantly shot out from his glabella. Bam! A muffled sound suddenly rang out in the void. The void above the mountain suddenly exploded, and a huge black hole appeared without any warning. This is... Apart from Gu Fei and crazy Taoists, everyone on the mountain was shocked. An antique is attacking us? Paragon Black Tortoise stared at the black hole in the sky with extreme shock. He's not attacking us, he's attacking him. Gu Fei glanced at Paragon Sky Rock and said, What? When Paragon Heavenly Rock heard this, his shock was no small matter. Someone actually dared to attack him. Didn't that mean that I almost died just now? If the antique wanted to kill me, it would naturally be a piece of cake. Thank you, Tao Brother Gu. Paragon Sky Rock hurriedly thanked Gu Fei. He knew very well that among everyone present, only Gu Fei could save him from the antique. Humph! At that moment, a cold laugh was heard. Then, an incomparably huge firebird crossed hundreds of thousands of miles and instantly pounced in front of Gu Fei and the others. The terrifying essence of the sun poured down, and the void was instantly filled with terrifying divine fire of the sun. It burned the void until it was annihilated. In the eyes of an extreme Tao supremacy, this wasn't an ordinary divine fire of the sun. This was a divine fire formed by countless flame-shaped Tao patterns. The divine fire of the sun released by a single Tao pattern could burn a huge hole in the void. At this moment, this extremely terrifying divine fire would burn even an extreme Tao supremacy to death. This was just a casual attack from the Golden Crow Arch. The Golden Crow Thearch's true body was still hundreds of thousands of miles away. This Golden Crow's temper is getting more and more violent. An antique extreme Tao supremacy muttered. Who is that fellow? He actually dared to challenge the Golden Crow Arch. An antique noticed Gu Fei on the mountain top. A new face. Could he be a newly advanced powerhouse? None of the antique supremacies present recognized Gu Fei, let alone that Gu Fei was the legendary Extreme Tao Supremacy. The Extreme Tao Supremacy and the Nine Paths Supremacy were simply a joke to these antique supremacies. Since ancient times, who could cultivate 9 perfect great Tao? Otherwise, they wouldn't be called myths. Just as these antiques thought that Gu Fei was doomed, Gu Fei directly pressed his right hand toward the sky. A huge hand directly appeared in the void and blocked the golden crow that was swooping down from the sky. What? The antique supremacies were very surprised to see this scene. They saw Gu Fei's right hand shake, and the power of heaven transformation surged out. The monstrous divine fire that was descending from the sky was immediately dissolved. Ha! In the sky hundreds of thousands of miles away, a figure was faintly discernible in the divine light that resembled the divine sun. The terrifying divine fire of the sun incinerated the surrounding void continuously. The Golden Crow Thearch's figure was very blurry, but he was somewhat surprised that Gu Fei was able to dissolve his attack with one move. This Supremacy Skyping, who was trembling on the mountain top, was already stunned. Not only was he unable to interfere in a battle of this level, but even if he was affected, there would only be one outcome for him: the destruction of both his body and soul. Even the other supremacies on the mountain top were extremely fearful. Interesting. The Golden Crow Arch, who was sitting cross-legged in the void, stood up. A divine sun descended in his eyes, and a powerful extreme Tao divine power spread out. The surrounding void shook, and ripples of the void that could be seen with the naked eye spread out in all directions. You want to fight? Gu Fei looked indifferently at the Golden Crow Arch, who was hundreds of thousands of miles away. Even though he was facing a super antique like this, he was still calm and collected. Little fellow, you are not qualified to fight with me. Let my servant play with you. The Golden Crow Arch waved his big sleeve, and a figure appeared in the void. It was an old servant dressed in green, and a powerful extreme Tao divine power emanated from his body. The Golden Crow Arch was indeed powerful. He actually had an extreme Tao supremacy as his servant. Roar! The moment the old servant appeared, he immediately roared into the sky. Terrifying sound waves spread out, causing the ears of all the supremacies on the mountain top to buzz. Wu Nu, I'll leave that little fellow to you, the Golden Crow Arch said indifferently as he looked at Gu Fei on the mountain top. Yes, master! The servant named Wu Nu bowed to the golden crowed arch, and then straightened his back. In the next moment, he transformed from a humble servant to a peerless expert who was as imposing as a tiger. You dared to look down on me? Gu Fei couldn't help but feel very displeased when he saw that the golden crowed arch had actually sent out an old servant. Swoosh! At that moment, the old servant Wu Nu directly appeared in the sky above the mountain top that Gu Fei was on. A terrifying extreme Tao divine power descended from the sky, causing the entire mountain top to shake. The Black Tortoise Supremacy and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale. You're just like an ant! Gu Fei remained motionless, but the space between his eyebrows moved. A divine thought shot out from the space between his eyebrows and turned into an invisible blade that slashed at the green-robed old servant in an instant. The extreme Tao divine power that erupted from the old servant's body instantly disappeared, and he fell from the sky. You! This time, the golden crowed arch was infuriated. This fellow actually dared to kill his servant. He really deserved to die. The golden crow Thearka's body shook, and a pair of divine wings immediately appeared on his back. With a flap of his divine wings, he immediately turned into a beam of fiery light that charged towards Gu Fei. The golden crowed arch had personally made a move, and the Black Tortoise Supremacy and the others were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. Die! Gu Fei roared angrily. He stomped his right foot on the ground, and his fist smashed forward like a cannonball. Boom! With a loud sound, Gu Fei's fist collided with the golden crow Thearka's fiery light. The fiery light was directly blocked by Gu Fei. When they saw this scene, the surrounding old antiques were inexplicably shocked. This was the golden crowed arch. Even if they were to face this fellow, they would only be on par with him. At that moment, Gu Fei stood on the mountain top with his hands clenched into fists. He calmly looked at the ball of divine light in front of him, and saw a mysterious figure sitting cross-legged in the divine light. Chapter 3863. The Golden Crowed Arch was a super antique that had attained the Tao during the mythological era of the primogenitor realm. This antique was extremely powerful, and had already shocked the world back then. Countless years had passed, and many people thought that this arch had already fallen because he hadn't appeared in more than one era. There had once been a dark era in the primogenitor realm. That was the darkest era of the primogenitor realm. Countless major clans had been completely wiped out during that era. The Golden Crow clan of the primogenitor realm had also gradually declined during that era, eventually disappearing from everyone's sight. Countless Supremes had fallen during that dark era. The entire primogenitor realm had almost been destroyed by the battle of Supremes, and the other worlds had also been affected. That was an era of misery and suffering. Many famous Supremes had disappeared. No one knew if those Supremes had fallen or not. This had become a great secret of the primogenitor realm. However, the appearance of the Wheel of Myriad Realms had alarmed the Golden Crowed Arch this time, attracting this Supreme Arch who had disappeared for God knows how long. Supremes, Supreme Thearchs, and Ultimate Monarch Supremes were the most powerful existences in the primogenitor realm. Boom! A dull sound of collision rang out. Two figures were moving rapidly in the sky. The supreme might of the extreme Tao spread out in all directions, pressing down on the entire world as if it was about to collapse. All the Supremes near the primogenitor mountain were indescribably shocked. No one had expected a battle of this level to erupt so quickly. At that moment, the mountain where Supreme Black Tortoise and the others were was enveloped by an ancient cauldron, blocking the mighty might of the extreme Tao from the sky. Otherwise, Supreme Black Tortoise and the others would have suffered a great impact, and would have been half dead even if they didn't die. We've severely underestimated the combat power of a Supreme Legend. Supreme Black Tortoise and the others were indescribably shocked. They had never imagined that Gu Fei could actually fight the legendary Golden Crowed Arch. I heard that a Supreme Legend has appeared. Could it be him? Some old antiques said in shock. Wind rise! Gu Fei shouted. A gust of the great Tao of wind immediately surged out of his body. Invisible wind blades slashed at the golden crowed arch from all directions. Every wind blade sliced through the void and broke through the golden crowed Thearka's true sun fire. 10 suns illuminating the sky! The golden crowed arch roared furiously. 10 flame-shaped Tao patterns immediately rushed out of his body and instantly turned into 10 divine suns. The towering solar true fire burned through the void. Whether it was invisible wind blades or other things, they were all annihilated by the solar true fire. The 10 divine suns directly broke through Gu Fei's invisible wind blades and then rushed towards Gu Fei. That golden crow has disappeared for countless years, but he actually managed to cultivate the 10th Tao pattern? An ancient existence said in shock. The golden crowed arch was a living being born from the ancient divine Sunday. He was a connate fire Tao living being, and he only cultivated one great Tao, the fire Tao. The golden crowed arch had only cultivated one Tao in his entire life, so the power of his fire Tao was definitely unimaginable. Just like the mysterious and unfathomable primordial chaos supremacy, he also cultivated one great Tao. However, he could suppress the ancient demon's supremacy and seal the myriad world wheel. In Gu Fei's opinion, the primordial chaos supremacy was definitely a truly invincible supremacy. In the current world, the so-called invincible supremacy was only applicable to living beings below the supremacy level. Has this fellow cultivated the fire Tao to the limit? Someone said something like that. There were also strong and weak extreme Tao supremacies. Only those at the initial stage of the extreme Tao could be considered to have entered the extreme Tao. Those at the middle stage of the extreme Tao could be considered to have entered the extreme Tao. Only those at the peak of the extreme Tao could barely be considered invincible. However, an existence like the Golden Crow Thearka's cultivation level had definitely surpassed the peak of the extreme Tao. Perhaps he had already come into contact with that legendary realm. Of course, that legendary realm only existed in legends. Humph! At that moment, the 10 suns attacked, and heat waves surged into the sky. Gu Fei snorted coldly and waved his right hand. 9 balls of lightning appeared directly in front of him. In the next moment, the 9 balls of lightning immediately bombarded the 10 suns that were about to kill Ji. Amidst a series of shocking explosions, 9 of the 10 suns directly exploded and dissipated in the void at the same time as the 9 balls of lightning that Gu Fei had shot out. Meanwhile, the power of the remaining sun had already blasted in front of Gu Fei. Gu Fei stretched out his right hand and pressed it directly on the divine sun that had blasted towards him. In the next moment, this divine sun was directly swallowed into his body. Boom! The power of the great Tao of fire immediately erupted from Gu Fei's body. At that moment, he seemed to have transformed into a supreme fire god from ancient times. The power of the great Tao of fire that erupted from Gu Fei's body didn't seem to be inferior to the power of the great Tao of fire that the Golden Crowed Arch had cultivated for his entire life. Wind, fire, lightning. I didn't expect that I would encounter a paragon of the 3 paths the moment I came out of seclusion. The Golden Crow Thearka's golden eyes narrowed as he looked at Gu Fei. Humph! There are still many things that you can't imagine. Gu Fei looked at the Golden Crowed Arch indifferently and said, "Little fellow, why don't you follow me?" The Golden Crowed Arch suddenly said. He actually cherished this talent. Ha ha! Gu Fei suddenly burst into laughter when he heard the Golden Crow Thearka's words. This fellow actually wanted him to follow him? This was too funny! The Black Tortoise and the others couldn't help but look at each other. This Golden Crowed Arch was indeed impressive. He actually wanted an extreme legend to follow him. This was an extreme legend! Is this very funny? The Golden Crow Thearka's face immediately darkened. In ancient times, the number of existences that wanted to follow him could have lined up from here to outside the Primogenitor mountain range. You should follow me. Gu Fei stopped smiling. Since you want to court death, then there's no other way. The Golden Crowed Arch directly disappeared into the void after saying that. In the next moment, Gu Fei felt a wave of cold air assaulting his body. He didn't hesitate and directly soared into the sky. At this moment, a huge flaming hand directly shattered the void where he was originally standing. Everything was directly obliterated. Kill! Gu Fei attacked with all his might. A wave of heaven transformation power immediately erupted from his body and spread in all directions. Everything, including the void, was melted. What kind of mystic ability is this? The Golden Crowed Arch was shocked. He could clearly feel that his power was actually directly obliterated by the mighty power that was emitted from the other party's body. Heaven trampling in one step. At this moment, Gu Fei stepped into the sky and instantly appeared in the sky above the Golden Crowed Arch. Then, he stomped down on the Golden Crowed Thearka's head. The power of heaven trampling surged out from under Gu Fei's feet. The entire void beneath his feet collapsed and was destroyed. The Golden Crowed Arch was shocked. In the next moment, there was a loud bang and his entire body fell from the sky involuntarily. Boom! There was a loud sound and the entire ground immediately undulated violently like waves. A bottomless pit appeared in the ground. How is this possible? Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this scene. The dignified Golden Crowed Arch was actually defeated by a little fellow? This was too unbelievable. The surrounding antique Supreme Venerables were also inexplicably shocked. On that mountain, the Black Tortoise Supreme Venerables and the others were even more frightened and terrified. Roar! At this moment, a deep roar came from the huge pit in the ground. In the next moment, the entire ground suddenly collapsed and a figure directly broke out of the ground and rushed up into the sky. This fellow was covered in dust and looked extremely pathetic. This fellow was naturally none other than the Golden Crowed Arch. The Golden Crowed Arch flew into a rage out of humiliation and was about to attack Gu Fei. However, at this moment, the All Heavens wheel in the sky suddenly trembled violently. What's happening? Everyone's attention was immediately attracted by the All Heavens wheel. Even the Golden Crowed Arch did not attack Gu Fei anymore. At this moment, 9 divine chains suddenly rushed out of the Primogenitor Mountain and directly entangled the All Heavens wheel in the sky. Then, the All Heavens wheel was actually pulled by the 9 divine chains and flew towards the Primogenitor Mountain. Clang! A ray of sword light slashed from afar and directly slashed at the divine chains, trying to break them. However, the next moment, this extremely sharp ray of sword light directly collapsed in the void. The 9 divine chains were not damaged at all. Even those old Supreme Venerables could not sit still when they saw this scene. Damn it! The Golden Crowed Arch glared at Gu Fei fiercely before directly rushing towards the All Heavens wheel. Break! The Golden Crowed Arch directly attacked. The endless power of the true fire of the sun frantically gathered towards his hands, and a flaming divine blade appeared in the void. He roared angrily and slashed at the 9 divine chains with all his might. Swoosh! The ray of sword light that rushed out of the Golden Crowed Thearka's hands directly tore through the void, as if it was going to split the entire universe into 2. A power that surpassed the peak of the extreme Tao erupted from his hands. Without a doubt, the Golden Crowed Thearka's blade was definitely much more powerful than the previous ray of sword light. Clang! The sound of metal clashing rang out. The Golden Crowed Thearka's astonishing blade directly struck the 9 divine chains. However, a scene that left everyone dumbfounded appeared. The saber light that the Golden Crowed Arch had unleashed actually shattered. Not only did it not break the 9 divine chains, but it did not even leave a mark on them. What? How is this possible? Even the Golden Crowed Arch can't break these 9 divine chains. Chapter 3864. Something happened in the sky above the Primogenitor Mountain. 9 divine chains rushed out of the Primogenitor Mountain and wrapped around the wheel of All Sky World. Rumble! The world shook as the 9 divine chains pulled on the wheel of All Sky World. The wheel of All Sky World was being pulled toward the Primogenitor Mountain. It was as if they were pulling an ancient Primogenitor Mountain. The entire world shook violently, and there seemed to be monstrous waves surging in the void. The surrounding antiques had no choice but to retreat far away. The Golden Crowed Thearka's all-out attack had failed to break the 9 divine chains. This shocked all the antiques. Could these divine chains be even more powerful than the wheel of All Sky World? Gu Fei stared at the wheel of all sky world in the sky. After all, it's already broken. Gu Fei sighed. Although the wheel of all sky world was still extremely powerful, it was incomplete. It was missing at least 1/3 of its power. Even the God will of the wheel of all sky world had not fully recovered. The God will of the wheel of all sky world was also incomplete. It could not display the true power of the primogenitor mountain. If the wheel of all sky world was complete, the 9 divine chains that rushed out of the primogenitor mountain would definitely not be able to do anything to the primogenitor mountain. However, it was a pity that the primogenitor mountain's power was already incomplete. This way, it would not be able to withstand the power of the primogenitor mountain. The 9 divine chains had been formed by the supreme existence that had sealed the wheel of all sky world here. He had used a secret technique to draw upon the essence chi of the primogenitor mountain. The ancestral chi of the earth in the primogenitor mountain was so powerful that even these antiques had a headache. Fellow Taoists, what are you waiting for? The golden crow dart shouted at the antiques that were still watching. If the 9 divine chains pulled the wheel of all sky world into the primogenitor mountain and sealed it again, they would have to wait for the next opportunity. Following the golden crow Thearka's roar, 3 powerful auras of the extreme great path immediately erupted. The divine might of the extreme great path was earth-shattering. At that moment, countless living beings in the primogenitor mountain range felt their souls tremble. Swoosh! At this moment, a divine blade descended from the sky and slashed at the 9 divine chains. Clang! The sound of metal colliding resounded, and then the divine blade was actually blasted away by the 9 divine chains. One of the old-timers stepped through the air and waved his hand, causing the divine saber to fly into his grasp. Whiz! A saber cry echoed out. The person who made the move exuded a domineering aura. The saber in his hand was vibrating nonstop, as though it could fly out of his hand at any moment. This person was the ancient overlord. Among all the sovereigns present, he was the only one who possessed such a peerlessly domineering aura. This thousand ancient hegemon was extremely shocked. These 9 divine chains could block his saber. Could it be that no one could break these 9 divine chains? Preposterous! The first Thunder Ancestor made his move. He summoned a Great Path Thunder Seal. The Great Path Thunder Seal descended from the sky towards the 9 divine chains. Endless power of thunder and lightning erupted from the seal of the Great Law of Thunder. Every bolt of lightning tore through the sky and destroyed everything. However, when the first Thunder Ancestor's Great Path Thunder Seal slammed into the 9 divine chains, an unbelievable scene unfolding. The Great Path Thunder Seal was blasted away by the 9 divine chains, and countless balls of lightning instantly dissipated in the sky. The first Thunder Ancestor was both shocked and furious. At this time, 3 of the old-timers had already made their move. However, whether it was the first Thunder Ancestor, the Golden Crow Emperor, or the Ancient Overlord, none of them could break the 9 divine chains. The wheel of all heavens and myriad realms was about to be pulled into the primogenitor mountain by the 9 divine chains. At this time, the old-timers who were still watching from the sidelines finally had no choice but to make their move. 3 beams of immortal divine light flew over from the sky and ruthlessly slashed at the 9 divine chains. The terrifying power of peak extreme Tao erupted. The 9 divine chains shook violently, and the sound of clanging metal rang out incessantly. The void was shaken by the explosive power of the extreme Tao, and sinister spatial cracks appeared. The attacks of the old-timers naturally couldn't be compared to ordinary supremacies. They shook the void of the primogenitor realm as soon as they made their moves. At the same time, the Golden Crow Emperor, the Ancient Overlord, and the Heavenly Tao Supremes also made their moves. Extremely violent power wreaked havoc in all directions. However, at this time, even the old-timers were in despair. No matter how they attacked, the 9 divine chains remained intact. How is this possible? The voice of one of the old-timers trembled. Nothing is impossible! At this time, a voice rang out. The group of old-timers hurriedly turned around and saw that the person who had spoken was Gu Fei, who had just fought with the Golden Crow Emperor. Only he was still calm and composed, and he didn't make a move. "Little fellow, do you want to die?" The Golden Crow Emperor couldn't help but be furious when he saw that it was Gu Fei. "You're the ones who want to die," Gu Fei suddenly said. "What did you say?" The Golden Crow Emperor was about to attack Gu Fei. However, right at this moment, a series of extremely powerful figures suddenly rushed out from the primordial ancestral mountain. These figures were all riding on battle beasts with spears in their hands, and they were charging directly toward Thousand Ancient Hegemon and the others. "This is—" The Golden Crow Emperor was extremely shocked when he saw this. He discovered that these fellows who suddenly rushed out of the Primogenitor Mountain weren't real bodies. They were just projections. Boom! A resounding boom rang out as the Millennium Hegemon's fist dispersed one of the white shadows, but the white shadow quickly condensed back into a middle-aged man. The ancient overlord felt that something was wrong. Could this be a trap? However, there was no time for the Millennium Hegemon to think. The white figure wielding the spear was thrusting toward him at an extremely fast speed. Swish! The ancient overlord's saber slashed the white figure in half, and it dissipated into the void. However, the white figure reappeared in less than 2 breaths' time. "How is this possible?" The ancient overlord was truly shocked this time. This was simply an existence that couldn't be killed. At this moment, a terrifying energy fluctuation erupted from the Primogenitor Mountain. 9 faint and illusory figures actually forced the Golden Crow Arch and the other extreme supremacies to retreat. Even Gu Fei couldn't help but be a little moved by this scene. Did that existence really dig a super big trap for these extreme heavenly sovereigns to jump into? Chapter 3865. Seeing that the wheel of the heavens and realms was about to be resealed by the Primogenitor Mountain, the Supremes finally couldn't sit still and made their moves. However, to everyone's surprise, these Supremes actually triggered the Primogenitor Mountain's counterattack. Of course, all of this was the trick of the Supreme Existence who sealed the wheel of the heavens and realms in the Primogenitor Mountain, drawing the essence of the Primogenitor Mountain for his own use. The existence who could use such an amazing trick was definitely an extreme grade supremacy, and one who was proficient in the Tao of formations. At this moment, the power of the Primogenitor Mountain erupted. 9 faint figures directly charged out from the Primogenitor Mountain and forced the Supremes to retreat. How is this possible? Everyone who saw this scene was in disbelief. The energy waves that erupted from any one of the 9 illusory figures were not inferior to the auras of the Golden Crow Arch and the rest. Boom! With a loud bang, endless divine fire of the sun exploded. The 10 divine suns that the Golden Crow Emperor had conjured could not withstand a single blow from the opponent. Too powerful! The Golden Crow Emperor's expression changed for the first time. Rumble! At this moment, the wheel of the heavens and realms in the sky was about to be resealed. As long as the wheel of the heavens and realms was resealed, everything would return to normal. At this moment, a faint figure rushed towards Gu Fei. He couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this figure directly stabbing towards him with a spear. He directly struck out with his palm, and the power of heaven transformation gushed out from his hand. In the next moment, the silhouette disappeared in the void, having been reborn. However, Gu Fei wasn't that happy. His expression became even more serious. Sure enough, what Gu Fei was most worried about still happened. In the void, a figure appeared. This figure was the guy that Gu Fei had just destroyed with the Heavenly Transformation Hand. Even the Heavenly Transformation Hand can't kill these guys? Gu Fei really couldn't believe it. The figure once again pounced towards Gu Fei. One step to the heavens! Gu Fei took a step forward and soared into the sky. When he landed, the void under his feet immediately collapsed and turned into a destructive force. Bam! As Gu Fei took a step forward, the mysterious figure once again dissipated into the void. Swoosh! Without hesitation, Gu Fei used the heaven-treading steps and rushed towards the wheel of heavens and myriad worlds in the sky. At the same time, the other old geezers had escaped the entanglement of the images, and they shot into the sky with the intention of seizing the Wheel of Worlds. Millennium hegemons slashed at the primogenitor mountain. Boom! With a loud bang, the primogenitor mountain shook. The extremely overbearing power almost broke through the defense of the primogenitor mountain. At this time, Gu Fei took out the ancestral god's sword and slashed at the 9 divine chains. The sword light pierced through the void and landed on the 9 divine chains. Clang! With a crisp sound, one of the divine chains was severed and dissipated in the void. Seeing this scene, all the extreme grade supremes were extremely excited. No one expected Gu Fei to be able to sever those divine chains. Gu Fei used the power of the ancestral god's sword to sever the 9 divine chains that had rushed out of the primogenitor mountain. When the last divine chain was severed, the wheel of heavens and myriad worlds immediately turned into a ball of divine light and shot into the sky in an attempt to escape. However, the old geezers did not agree. They directly shot into the sky and chased after the ball of divine light. Ha ha! Gu Fei laughed heartily as he also chased after it. His heaven-treading steps was derived from the 8 desolate steps, and its speed could be said to be the fastest in the primogenitor realm. He even surpassed the golden crowed arch in an instant. Even the golden crowed arch was shocked when he saw Gu Fei rush past him. Very quickly, Gu Fei caught up to the ball of divine light. Return! Gu Fei took out the heavenly demon pagoda and activated it. A wave of heaven-devouring power immediately surged out of the heavenly demon pagoda and instantly enveloped the wheel of heavens and myriad worlds. Just as Gu Fei was about to take the wheel of heavens and myriad worlds, the golden crowed arch, the Millennium Overlord, and the heavenly Tao Supremes arrived. Buzz! A dragon's roar came from Gu Fei's body. Then, he flipped his right hand and the ancestral god's sword appeared in his hand once again. You want to take the wheel of heavens and myriad worlds? Dream on! The golden crowed arch roared angrily and attacked. Endless true yang power erupted, and balls of fire that resembled divine suns appeared in the void. The fireballs covered the sky and shot toward Gu Fei. Return! Gu Fei activated the heavenly demon pagoda with all his might, and the endless power of the true sun fire was continuously devoured by the heavenly demon pagoda. Very quickly, unimaginably powerful existences appeared on every level of the heavenly demon pagoda. This demonic artifact was incredible. It was a supreme demonic artifact that was jointly refined by the 12 ancestor fiends. Every level had a guardian god. Even an existence at the peak of the extreme Tao would have to flee when all 9 guardian gods appeared. The golden crowed arch was shocked and furious when he sensed that his power was constantly disappearing. At the same time, a domineering saber light descended from the sky and directly broke through the layers of fire, slashing toward Gu Fei. Huh! Gu Fei was shocked. The next moment, he disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already 100 feet away. Outrageous! Do you think I'm easy to bully? Gu Fei glanced at these guys and disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the golden crowed arch. Breaking the limit with one punch! Gu Fei roared and directly punched out. The violent power instantly increased by 10 times. Bam! With a dull sound, the golden crowed arch actually exploded from the punch. What? Seeing this scene, all the supreme venerables who were chasing were inexplicably shocked. That was the golden crowed arch, but he was actually killed with one punch. This scene was simply too shocking. However, Gu Fei wasn't that happy because he knew that this level of attack wouldn't be able to take the golden crow Thearka's life. I want the wheel of the myriad realms. If you're not convinced, then come and fight! Gu Fei said coldly as he swept a glance at the group of supremes that were chasing after them. This guy. The group of supreme venerables couldn't help but be shocked and angry when they heard that. However, the scene of Gu Fei killing the golden crowed arch with one punch was indeed a little shocking. Supreme venerables were also afraid of death. No one wanted to be punched by Gu Fei like that. For a moment, no one dared to step forward. I'm not convinced! At this moment, a voice sounded. Then, a supreme great demon with a towering demonic aura walked out. Chapter 3866. Gu Fei had destroyed the Golden Crow Thearka's extreme grade supremacy body with a single punch. This fellow's battle prowess was simply too heaven-defying. One had to know that the Golden Crow Dharch had cultivated for countless years. In the distant past, he was a super powerhouse at the peak of the extreme grade. Now, he had clearly surpassed the peak. The realm above the peak of the extreme grade was a mysterious and unfathomable realm. Only these super powerhouses were qualified to touch that realm. Of course, the realm above the peak of the extreme grade was still within the scope of the extreme grade realm. However, Gu Fei had displayed the power to suppress the Golden Crow Dharch. Didn't this mean that he had also surpassed the peak of the extreme grade and entered the extreme grade mystic realm? The legends of the extreme grade are indeed monstrous. Those supremacies who were watching from afar couldn't help but be dumbfounded and in disbelief when they saw Gu Fei destroy the Golden Crow Dharch with a single punch. "If you're not convinced, then come and fight me!" Gu Fei's voice spread far and wide and reverberated throughout the sky. All the supremacies were shocked when they heard his voice. What does this mean? Is he going to fight against all the supremacies in the ancestral realm by himself? An extreme grade supremacy exclaimed. How bold! At the top of the mountain, the drunken mad Taoist suddenly uttered these words. The Black Tortoise supremacy and the others were already dumbfounded. They had never imagined that Gu Fei would be so powerful and domineering that he dared to challenge all the supremacies in the ancestral realm without putting them in his eyes. At this moment, Gu Fei used the heavenly demon pagoda to stop the wheel of all heavens and realms. The sword light formed by the 10,000 gods' ancestral sword circled around him like a supreme lord. Let me have a go at you! Just when all the super powerhouses didn't dare to act rashly, a voice suddenly sounded from afar. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a figure walking over step by step from afar. With just a few steps, he was already close to them. It was an ordinary-looking middle-aged man dressed in gray clothes. His body exuded a monstrous demonic aura. This was the extreme Tao demonic energy, a single strand enough to crush everything, shatter mountain ranges. Demon ancestor pure heaven? A super expert recognized this middle-aged man and couldn't help being shocked. It's really him. He's not dead yet. Some old antiques were inexplicably shocked. Demon Patriarch Hun Tian had appeared even earlier than the Golden Crow Dharch. No one knew how long he had lived and how many eras he had experienced. However, what was certain was that demon ancestor Hun Tian's cultivation base was extremely powerful. Even among super powerhouses, he was almost invincible. Everyone was surprised and delighted to see demon Patriarch Hun Tian arrive. Finally, there was someone who could compete with Gu Fei. It would be best if the two of them fought until both of them were heavily injured. Demonic ancestor? Gu Fei's expression gradually turned grave as he stared at demon ancestor Hun Tian. This demon ancestor Hun Tian wasn't simple. He was the most powerful supreme he had encountered since entering the primogenitor mountain range. Since you know it's me, why aren't you leaving your things behind and scram? Demon ancestor Hun Tian looked at Gu Fei and said indifferently. Haha! Gu Fei looked at demon ancestor Hun Tian and suddenly burst into laughter. This guy actually dared to speak so arrogantly in front of him. Did he think that he was a supremacy? Exalted Lord, was a title in the primogenitor realm's legends. However, it was too difficult to produce a supremacy. It should be known that there were many supreme supremacies in the entire primogenitor realm, and there were even supreme super powerhouses who had lived for countless years. Who could make countless supremacies bow their heads with their own strength. At that moment, even the Golden Crow Dharch and other extreme grade super powerhouses were stunned by demon ancestor Hun Tian's words. This guy actually dared to say such words in front of an extreme grade legend? The Golden Crow Dharch wasn't killed by Gu Fei's punch. At his cultivation level, it wasn't easy to kill such an existence. Although Gu Fei was powerful, it was impossible for him to kill a super powerhouse who had surpassed the peak of the extreme grade and entered the extreme mystic realm with one punch. Die! Demon ancestor Hun Tian didn't waste time talking nonsense with Gu Fei. He directly punched at Gu Fei. Rumble! Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's punch directly shook the entire world, stirring up the boundless wind and clouds. Even the stars in the sky trembled as if they were about to fall from the starry sky. This was a real punch that shook the world. Interesting. Gu Fei's eyes lit up when he saw Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's punch. This punch actually made him feel that it was difficult to dodge. This was an invincible fist intent. Humph! Gu Fei also threw a punch. However, there wasn't any energy fluctuation coming from his fist. It was as if he had casually thrown a punch. However, his fist collided with Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's fist. It was an extremely ordinary punch that blocked Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's monstrous punch. How is this possible? Demon Ancestor Hun Tian was taken aback. Their moves were exactly the same, but their auras were extreme. However, their combat strength was also so powerful that ordinary extreme grade supremes would feel despair. Boom! With a muffled sound, a transparent ripple immediately spread from their fists that collided. In the next moment, the void was annihilated, and a huge black hole appeared in the sky. The two figures instantly separated. At the same time, a not very loud sound reverberated in the void. The super powerhouses didn't feel much, but the peak extreme grade supremes felt pain in their ears and couldn't hear anything. The beginner extreme grade supremes in the distance were directly shaken to the point that blood oozed out of their ears. They retreated even further away in panic. All the supremes couldn't help but be shocked. A battle between experts of this level was really terrifying. Go! At this moment, Gu Fei waved his right hand, and the myriad god ancestral sword that circled around him immediately turned into a divine rainbow-like sword light that pierced towards Demon Ancestor Hun Tian. The sword light instantly illuminated the entire world, as if it was splitting the world into two. The power of the myriad god ancestral sword erupted from the sword light. Haha, you're not the only one with an extreme grade Dao weapon! Demon Ancestor Hun Tian laughed loudly. In the next moment, a ball of demonic light rushed out of his body and turned into a demonic saber that directly met the myriad god ancestral sword light. Clang! The sound of metal colliding was heard. The saber and sword instantly collided, and Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's demonic saber was directly sent flying. Swoosh! The sword light formed by the myriad god ancestral sword directly pierced through Demon Ancestor Hun Tian. Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's figure instantly became blurry and soon dissipated in the void. He was killed just like that. Chapter 3867. The myriad god ancestral sword was the number one divine artifact in the ancestor god realm. It had been nurtured in the graveyard of myriad gods for countless years and devoured the power of 10,000 gods before finally becoming the ultimate divine artifact of the ancestor god realm. Even though the power of the myriad god ancestral sword was not as great as the flawless wheel of heavens, it was not far off. Even with Gu Fei's current cultivation level, he could only unleash 1/10 of the myriad god ancestral sword's power. If the myriad god ancestral sword's power was fully unleashed, even a peak extreme Dao's supremacy could be killed with one strike. Demon Ancestor Hun Tian was killed just like that? An extreme Dao patriarch exclaimed in shock. Humph! It's not that simple! An extreme Dao patriarch seemed to have noticed something. At this moment, Gu Fei was neither sad nor happy. His state of mind was surprisingly calm. Even he himself found it strange. Why was this happening? At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared above Gu Fei's head and slapped down on Gu Fei's head. Rumble! Endless demonic power erupted as the extreme Dao Patriarch hand enveloped the surroundings. It was as terrifying as an ancient ancestral mountain crashing down on Gu Fei. Bam! Gu Fei raised his hand and slapped upwards. The mighty extreme Dao Patriarch hand was instantly dissolved. This was Gu Fei's heavenly transformation hand, which was said to be able to transform the heavens with a single hand. What? Demon Ancestor Hun Tian was truly shocked. How could this little fellow be so powerful? No wonder even the Golden Crow Emperor was defeated by him. Gu Fei's heavenly transformation power surged towards Demon Ancestor Hun Tian. In the next moment, Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's palm was immediately turned into nothingness. If he hadn't dodged quickly, his entire arm would have been melted by Gu Fei's heavenly transformation power. Swoosh! Demon Ancestor Hun Tian retreated 5 kilometers. At this moment, Gu Fei's myriad god ancestral sword had already flown back and directly slashed towards Demon Ancestor Hun Tian at an extremely fast speed. Without any suspense, Demon Ancestor Hun Tian dodged again. He waved his right hand and the extreme Dao Demon's saber immediately landed in his hand. Sky-breaking saber! Without hesitation, Demon Ancestor Hun Tian slashed out with all his might. The immortal saber beam split heaven and earth, as though it had become the only thing in the world, attracting everyone's attention. The incomparably dazzling blade light fell directly on Gu Fei. Swoosh! Gu Fei took a step forward and instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind Demon Ancestor Hun Tian. What? Without thinking, Demon Ancestor Hun Tian turned around and slashed with his saber. Gu Fei did not dodge. In the next moment, a strange sound that sounded like a raging wave came from his body. Then, he directly punched at the extreme demon blade that was slashing towards him. Clang! Gu Fei's fist instantly collided with Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's supreme demon saber, producing a strange sound of metal colliding. Demon Ancestor Hun Tian only felt a strong force pass through his extreme Dao demon saber. Then, the saber in his hand flew out. In an instant, Gu Fei's power soared to a level that made Demon Ancestor Hun Tian's heart palpitate. Before Demon Ancestor Hun Tian could react, Gu Fei's seemingly indestructible fist had already smashed into his body. In the next moment, his entire body exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. Withdraw! Gu Fei directly activated the Heavenly Demon Tower. A powerful devouring force immediately surged out from the first floor and swallowed the cloud of blood mist into the tower. What? Even the ultimate old-timers couldn't sit still when they saw what was happening. Roar! A shrill roar came from the first floor of the Heavenly Demon Tower. It seemed as though 2 figures were entangled inside. One of the figures wanted to rush out of the tower, but it was entangled by the gods on the first floor and constantly refined. Soon, the first floor of the demon tower calmed down. The demon ancestor Hun Tian had actually died just like that. This shocked all the Supreme Elders. Boom! After devouring demon ancestor Hun Tian, the heavenly demon tower suddenly shook, and an even more powerful supreme demon force erupted from the heavenly demon tower. The myriad world wheel was firmly suppressed. Gu Fei waved his right hand, and the heavenly demon tower suppressed the myriad world wheel and flew back to him. At the same time, he also put away demon ancestor Hun Tian's supreme demon saber. All the Supreme Elders stared at the heavenly demon tower and the myriad world wheel with incomparable jealousy. That was the myriad world wheel. Whoever obtained it would become the ruler of the ancestral realm. This was an ancient legend that had circulated for countless years. It was also because of this legend that countless Supreme Elders rushed to the ancestral mountain range to fight for this supreme Tao artifact. Since ancient times, it was unknown how many Supreme Elders had died in the ancestral mountain range. Just as Gu Fei was about to put away the myriad world wheel, 3 supreme demon shadows descended from the sky and surrounded Gu Fei. When everyone saw this scene, they couldn't help but be shocked. Demons? Gu Fei glanced at the 3 great demons and saw that they were all extremely ferocious demons. The great demon in front of him had 6 arms, each holding a demon artifact. The 6-armed bell, cauldron, sword, saber, spear, and halberd, the 6 demon artifacts all emitted demon force fluctuations at the extreme Tao level. The great demon on the right was covered in red scales and had a crimson fire snake coiled around his body. The crimson fire snake was spewing poisonous flames at Gu Fei. The great demon on the left of Gu Fei had a humanoid body and a wolf's head. It was the head of a bloodthirsty demon wolf. It was extremely ferocious. 6-armed, crimson fire, and blood wolf. 3 of the 12 ancestor demons have arrived! On the mountain top, the Black Tortoise Sovereign and the others could not help exclaiming when they saw this scene. The appearance of these three great demons caused quite a commotion among the supreme beings. These three great demons were all unparalleled existences with unparalleled ferocity. Each of the 12 ancestor demons was an invincible demon ancestor who crawled out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Each of them had the strength to compete with the super experts of the extreme Tao mystic realm. The owner of the heavenly demon tower had arrived. The six-armed demon ancestor waved his hand and the heavenly demon tower flew towards him with the myriad world wheel. Preposterous! Gu Fei's expression changed when he saw this. He had only obtained the heavenly demon tower for a short period of time, and did not have the time to completely refine this demon artifact. This gave the six-armed demon ancestor an opportunity. Haha! The six-armed demon ancestor grabbed the heavenly demon tower and the myriad world wheel. Haha! The crimson fire demon ancestor and the blood wolf demon ancestor burst into laughter. The super experts were shocked and furious when they saw the six-armed demon ancestor taking the two extreme Tao weapons. Chapter 3868. In the sky above the primogenitor mountain, Gu Fei and the Supreme Supremes were fighting for the myriad world wheel. Just as Gu Fei suppressed all the Supreme Supremes and was about to take away the myriad world wheel, the three primogenitor demon ancestors suddenly descended and took away the heavenly demon tower. Ha! You can wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching, only to find it by chance. Little fella, thanks a lot. In order to repay you for helping us obtain the myriad world wheel, I shall grant you death. The three primogenitor demon ancestors stared at Gu Fei and laughed wantonly. Was the Black Wind Supreme and the others the trap that you guys dug for us? Gu Fei suddenly thought of the Black Wind Supreme, the three-eyed demon ancestor, and the Netherworld Supreme who suddenly brought the heavenly demon tower to the dragon coiling mountain. The Black Wind Supreme and the others seemed to have given the heavenly demon tower to him. Otherwise, how could he obtain the number 1 demonic artifact in the primogenitor world? Hee, you've guessed it in the end. The six-armed demon ancestor said with a hideous smile. Countless demonic marks on his body flickered and a terrifying aura spread out from his body, causing the surrounding void to tremble. He was an extremely ancient demon ancestor, so ancient that even the Supreme Supremes were fearful. Even the Supreme Supremes were shaken by the torrential murderous aura that burst out from the six-armed demon ancestor. One must know that this demon ancestor had killed countless living beings in the Dark Age. Not only the six-armed demon ancestor, but even the Scarlet Fire demon ancestor and the Blood Wolf demon ancestor's murderous aura weren't any weaker than the six-armed demon ancestors. One must know that the 12 primogenitor demons in the primogenitor demon territory were all supreme demon ancestors that had lived since the Dark Age. At this moment, the 12 primogenitor demons in the primogenitor demon territory sent 3 primogenitor demons, shocking all the Supreme Supremes. No one expected that the appearance of the myriad world wheel would attract the 3 primogenitor demons. What was even more unexpected was that the six-armed demon ancestor and the others were actually making use of Gu Fei, using Gu Fei to help them obtain the myriad world wheel. Great plan, great courage. Gu Fei had to admit that this was too shocking. The 3 primordial fiends had actually calculated everything. They did not even care about the risk of him taking away the heavenly demon tower. This heavenly devil tower was created by the combined efforts of the 12 primogenitor devils. It was known as the number 1 devil artifact in the primogenitor realm. These guys were actually willing to use the heavenly devil tower, the primogenitor demon domain's domain stabilizing devil tool, as bait. Stop talking nonsense, let us send this kid to the primogenitor demon tower. Gu Fei, Supremes, primogenitor demon wheel. Do you really think that you can defeat me? Gu Fei looked at the six-armed demon progenitor indifferently, and suddenly laughed. Demon, Fei, God down 9 Supremes were all God demons Supremes too. Emperor Tian Sovereign, to Qin 9 God, 9 Super Supremes were, Qin was Gu World Qin. Legends and Supremes of the 9 Paths were nothing but a joke in their eyes. The six-armed demon ancestor alone could kill the two primogenitors of the Wood clan. As for the Shooting Sun Supreme and the others, they were just small fries that could be subdued any time. Ruler of the southern region, six-armed demon ancestor, and the others were just a joke. None of this mattered to them as they were the invincible primogenitor demons. During the darkest era, there were many Supremes that died in the hands of the 12 primogenitor demons. There were even a few Supremes that were famous throughout the primogenitor world. "Kid, it's useless to bluff in front of us," the Scarlet Flame Demon Ancestor sneered. "Don't waste time," the Blood Wolf Demon Ancestor said impatiently. "That's right!" The Six-Armed Demon Ancestor and the Scarlet Flame Demon Ancestor exchanged glances and were about to strike. However, at this moment, Gu Fei raised his right hand and an item flew out from his hand. It turned into a black light and collided with the wheel of the myriad worlds in the heavens. "What's that?" The six-armed demon ancestor and the others were shocked. The next moment, the black light disappeared into the wheel of the heavens and realms. Then, the wheel of the heavens and realms, which had been silent, suddenly shook. Ancient Tao markings appeared from the myriad world wheel and interweaved into countless ancient Tao diagrams. These Tao diagrams were naturally formed, and the waves of extreme Tao power that they emitted were getting stronger and stronger. At this moment, the heavenly demon tower seemed to be unable to suppress the myriad world wheel. "What did you do?" The six-armed demon ancestor stared at Gu Fei and said angrily. "Nothing much. It's just a fragment of the myriad world wheel that I obtained by chance." Gu Fei shrugged and said, "You..." The six-armed demon ancestor was shocked and furious. He did not expect Gu Fei to have a fragment of the myriad world wheel. After the myriad world wheel fused with the fragment in Gu Fei's hand, its power increased tremendously. The power of myriad worlds surged, and the heavenly demon tower that was suppressing the myriad world wheel was being pushed away bit by bit. "Let's attack together and suppress the myriad world wheel first," the six-armed demon ancestor shouted at the Scarlet Flame Demon Ancestor and the Blood Wolf Demon Ancestor. The Scarlet Flame Demon Ancestor and the Blood Wolf Demon Ancestor did not speak any nonsense and attacked immediately. Powerful demonic Tao power was added to the heavenly demon tower, causing the demonic Tao power that erupted from the heavenly demon tower to multiply. The six-armed demon ancestor wanted to attack too, but Gu Fei had already locked onto him. As long as the six-armed demon ancestor moved, Gu Fei would immediately attack and give him a fatal blow. Even someone as powerful as the six-armed demon ancestor had to be careful when dealing with him. Gu Fei was an extreme Tao legend and an paragon of 9 paths. His all-out attack was no joke. At this moment, the surrounding Supremes were watching the two experts who were facing off nervously. They were curious about who was stronger between the two. One was an extreme Tao legend and an paragon of 9 paths. The other was the primogenitor demon ancestor, a supreme demon ancestor who walked out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. His murderous aura was earth-shattering. The battle between the two supreme existences attracted countless gazes. If Gu Fei could defeat the six-armed demon ancestor, who else in the primogenitor realm could be a match for him? "Little fella, you're courting death." The six-armed demon ancestor stared coldly at Gu Fei with blood-colored demonic light flickering in his eyes. "We'll find out soon enough who's courting death." As Gu Fei spoke, he threw a punch at the six-armed demon ancestor. Towering fist force spread out, and the entire void was instantly filled with countless Tao patterns. The void in front of the six-armed demon ancestor collapsed from the pressure of Gu Fei's fist force and exploded. It turned into a terrifying destructive force that shrouded the six-armed demon ancestor instantly. However, the six-armed demon ancestor's body shook and the destructive force that shrouded him dispersed just like that. However, at this moment, a fist landed in front of the six-armed demon ancestor. Bam! The six-armed demon ancestor felt a sharp pain in his right eye before he was sent flying towards the Scarlet Flame Demon Ancestor and the others. "What?" The Scarlet Flame Demon Ancestor and the Blood Wolf Demon Ancestor were shocked. The six-armed demon ancestor was sent flying by a punch from Gu Fei? How was this possible? The scarlet flame demon ancestor extended his right hand and caught the six-armed demon ancestor. At this moment, although the heavenly demon tower had been reinforced by the demonic powers of the two primogenitor demons, it could only barely suppress the wheel of heavens and realms. "How dare you snatch something from me, Gu Fei? No matter who you are, you'll have to pay the price." Gu Fei was like a peerless god of death as he charged forward and threw a punch. Countless Tao patterns appeared on his arm and 9 streams of power gathered on his fist. Through the extreme breaking secret technique, the power instantly increased by 10 times. Even the six-armed demon ancestor and the others were shocked by this earth-shattering punch. Roar! The six-armed demon ancestor bore the brunt of the attack. He could only grit his teeth and let out a roar. He used both his hands to block with all his might. Countless demonic patterns interweaved to form a demonic shield in front of him. Bam! Gotcha! Gu Fei's fist smashed hard on the demonic shield. The powerful demonic shield did not even last for a breath's time before it was smashed into pieces. Gu Fei's fist smashed on the six-armed demon ancestor's body. The fist carried the six-armed demon ancestor's body towards the scarlet flame demon ancestor and the blood wolf demon ancestor. This is outrageous. The scarlet flame demon ancestor and the blood wolf demon ancestor were shocked and furious. They had never expected Gu Fei to be so powerful. His combat strength was so heaven-defying that even the six-armed demon ancestor was not his match. Bam! Bam! The scarlet flame demon ancestor and the blood wolf demon ancestor slapped on the six-armed demon ancestor's back. In an instant, the 3 primordial fiend progenitors' fiendish Tao powers fused into one. When the 3 fiendish Tao powers fused together, their might immediately increased by several times. However, even so, Gu Fei's power was still firmly suppressing the power of the 3 primogenitors of the demonic path. Gu Fei's fist pushed against the 3 primogenitors of the demonic path for thousands of miles, knocking away the heavenly demon tower and the wheel of myriad worlds. What? The 3 ancestor fiends were dumbfounded by the might of Gu Fei's punch. How could such powerful strength appear on a single person? It was unimaginable that the 3 progenitor fiends would be forced to retreat even after joining forces. At that moment, resplendent demonic flames surged from the 3 ancestral fiends' bodies. The 3 ancestral fiends were actually burning living beings. They were going all out. How can this guy be so powerful? Seeing this scene, all the Supremes watching from afar were inexplicably shocked. They found it hard to believe. Even the 3 ancestral fiends weren't a match for Gu Fei? TSK. What ancestral fiends? They're just SOSO. Gu Fei said disdainfully. In the next moment, the power that erupted from his fist increased by a large margin. His strength seemed to be limitless and could increase infinitely. Boom! A loud sound accompanied by the miserable cries of the 6-armed demon ancestor and the others. The 3 ancestral fiends were directly sent flying. Ants. Gu Fei retracted his fist and said indifferently. You. The 6-armed demon ancestor's body was covered with cracks as though it would collapse at any time. Chapter 3869. Genius in a second. Remember to go away? We provide you with exciting novels to read. There was no doubt that the primogenitor fiends were powerful, but Gu Fei was able to beat the 3 primogenitor fiends into a sorry state with a wave of his hand. In particular, his extremity-breaking punch had forced the 3 ancestor demons back. The 6-armed demon ancestor, who bore the brunt of the attack, had countless cracks all over his body. It was a supreme demon body that had been tempered hundreds and thousands of times, yet there were cracks on it. This was definitely a major event that could shock the entire ancestral realm. The 12 ancestor fiends of the ancestor demon territory were the strongest experts who had walked out of mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Even super supremes like the Golden Crow Arch and the First Thunder ancestor might not be a match for the 6-armed devil ancestor. However, Gu Fei had suppressed the 3 ancestor demons all by himself. Such combat power was absolutely heaven-defying. You! The six-armed demon ancestor stared at Gu Fei in disbelief. He could not believe that he would be defeated by a little guy. This was such a humiliation. At this moment, rays of demonic light shone through the cracks on the six-armed demon ancestor's body. Ancient demonic patterns appeared and intertwined on his body, repairing his injured supreme demon body. This guy is incredible. He is almost on par with that person. The scarlet fire demon ancestor stared at Gu Fei fiercely. Two brilliant rays of fire shot out of his eyes. His words were extremely cold and filled with killing intent. That person? The blood wolf demon ancestor's pupils shrank when he heard this. He thought of an extremely terrifying existence that was the greatest enemy of the demons of the ancestral realm. Humph! So what if that person is powerful? Didn't we kill him all the same? The six-armed demon ancestor said coldly. But the scarlet fire demon ancestor wanted to say something but stopped. At this moment, Gu Fei had already taken the wheel of heavens and realms. I didn't expect it to be so badly damaged. Gu Fei only glanced at the wheel of the heavens and realms before throwing it into his inner world. Then, he used his various supreme Tao treasures to suppress the wheel of the heavens and realms. He had all sorts of extreme Tao treasures, such as the myriad gods' ancestral sword, the violet gold divine sword, the primal chaos sky ceiling diagram, the mountain river diagram, the three-world steel, and many more. If these extreme Tao treasures were used at the same time, even the flawless myriad realms wheel of the heavens could be suppressed. Needless to say, it was a heavily damaged wheel of heavens and realms. Come and die! Gu Fei looked indifferently at the three primordial fiends in front of him. These three fellows actually dared to scheme against him. They truly deserved to die. If he hadn't had a backup plan, these three fellows would have succeeded today. What did you say? The six-armed demon ancestor was enraged. This fella actually dared to look down on him. Little fella, even Primogenitor Emperor didn't dare to speak to us in such a manner. Red fire demonic ancestor stared at Gu Fei in rage. Really? Gu Fei smiled disdainfully. In the next moment, he disappeared on the spot. Damn it! When the six-armed demon ancestor saw that Gu Fei actually attacked him again, he couldn't help but be shocked and angry. This fellow was not only strong, but also unscrupulous. He didn't fear the demons of the primogenitor world at all. At this time, the cracks on the six-armed demon ancestor's body finally disappeared. An extremely strong demonic Tao power exploded from his body. Rays of demonic light circled around his body like demonic lightning. A powerful extreme demonic might radiated from his body, causing the surrounding void to ripple like water. It was as if a boundless ocean had appeared between the heavens and earth. On each of the six arms of the six-armed demon ancestor, a demonic weapon appeared. Each demonic weapon was emitting an extreme demonic aura. In the battle with Gu Fei just now, he didn't use the 6 demonic weapons. However, it was different now. If he continued to hide it, he would probably be killed by this little fella here. The six-armed demon ancestor was going all out. Bell, cauldron, sword, saber, spear, and halberd. Countless demonic patterns rushed out from the 6 demonic weapons. As they danced, billions of demonic patterns vanished in the void. The 6 demonic weapons were taken out at the same time. In the sky, there seemed to be an extremely terrifying destructive demonic wind. The void was constantly being destroyed. Even Gu Fei was forced to fall out of the void. Roar! Gu Fei let out a furious roar and stepped into the void like an ancestral dragon soaring into the sky. He threw a punch at the 6-armed demon ancestor. The violent fist force broke through the layers of demonic power and hit the 6 demonic weapons that the 6-armed demon ancestor was attacking. Clang! When Gu Fei's fist collided with the demonic artifacts, the sound of metal clashing rang out. The power of the 6 demonic artifacts erupted at the same time. 6 streams of demonic energy converged together to block the earth-shattering punch. Kill! The scarlet fire demon ancestor also attacked. He opened his mouth and spat out a dragon-shaped spear. The spear instantly turned into a fire dragon and pounced at Gu Fei. This was the demonic weapon of the Scarlet Fire Demon ancestor. It was called the Extreme Path Fire Dragon Spear. The body of this demonic weapon was actually an ancestral dragon. The primogenitor demon ancestor had refined an ancestral dragon into his demonic weapon. "Come on!" Gu Fei snorted coldly. His right leg was like a long whip. He kicked the fire dragon that was pouncing at him, and sent it flying. At this time, the Blood Wolf demon ancestor roared at the sky. A crimson demonic moon immediately fell from the sky and blasted at Gu Fei. The power of the Extreme Path secret realm came from the demonic moon and froze the void. The entire world was illuminated by the crimson demonic light emitted from the crimson demonic moon. Gu Fei did not hesitate. He directly slapped upwards. A huge palm appeared in the void and directly slapped at the descending crimson demonic moon. Boom! Under the gaze of all the Extreme Path Supremes, Gu Fei's huge palm slapped the crimson demonic moon. The demonic moon that emitted boundless cold aura exploded. The Blood Wolf Evil Lord let out a muffled groan and retreated, punching the 6 arms, kicking the Scarlet Fire Demon ancestor, and slashing the Blood Wolf Demon ancestor. Gu Fei actually suppressed the 3 primogenitor demon ancestor once again. This caused all the Extreme Path Supremes to be inexplicably shocked. Before this, many Extreme Path Supremes were very disdainful of Gu Fei. What Extreme Path legend, 9 Paths Supremes? They all thought that it was a false rumor, and not true. But now, the battle strength that Gu Fei displayed was too heaven-defying. If this wasn't the Extreme Path legend, then what was it? If this wasn't the 9 Paths Supremes, then what was it? After this battle, Gu Fei's name would spread throughout the primogenitor realm. "Fight it out with him!" The 6-armed demon ancestor roared. The cultivation and battle strength of the other party had far exceeded their expectations. In this battle, it was either this little guy die or they die. They had no way out. "Fight it out!" The bodies of the 6-armed demon ancestor, the Scarlet Fire Demon ancestor, and the Blood Wolf Demon ancestor began to emit almost transparent demonic flames. An unprecedentedly powerful demonic power erupted from their bodies, causing the entire world to lose its color. "This is..." Gu Fei looked at the 3 primogenitor demon ancestor with a solemn expression.